I went to
We
the
are
butt
back.
doctor. You know what you
Welcome
said?
to the PricePlow Podcast,
got a crack
episode
in it.
90. You may remember these two fine gentlemen, Joey Savage and Michael Bischoff of Glaxon, from episode 57, where we had a 4-hour bender. It's time, and we're going to begin with, what do we have here?
Let's find out. All right. That was lovely. I will crack with you people anytime.
That smells really good. Ooh.
That is a banger.
That tastes more like a...
So what if I told you that what you drank earlier and what you drank earlier is in here?
Yeah. I believe that.
Oh.
So everyone at home should know that we all have different flavors. So when we talk about flavors, everyone's talking about something different. What did we take this morning, Michael?
The drink.
Yeah.
And even that
Well,
drink.
no, you don't have to tell me brand, but tell us about the ingredient that you're talking about.
It's a pure ketone. It's liquid. It can't
Not
be,
salts.
Yeah, can't be.
No
put
diarrhea.
Yeah, so can't be put into a powder.
Tastes pretty bitter.
because it's not stable in the powder form, and that's why a lot of the ketone products out there are either like
Garbage.
little shots that are super acidic,
Tastes
or
like gasoline.
they're bound to a shitload of minerals, which is
Gonna make you poo-poo.
Hybrid V2 had a Hybrid V2 had a bunch of fiber and prebiotic fiber and things like that, just to
did what we
mitigate
could.
against the dose of minerals that you get hit with. But
So point being, this is an energy drink from Glaxon.
Yeah, for those listening on the
this
audio
is an
feeds.
energy drink concept with a thoughtful amount of caffeine. You could probably have one or two or three. Really,
You could probably have 3.
You could probably have 3. We
this
kind of favor the 160 milligram, 150 milligram.
Anything
energy
that's
drinks.
moderate. So I've got a thing where I've intentionally brought my caffeine dose down through just consuming energy drinks with less caffeine, which is nice because if I want to, I'm not in my caffeine quota of my past days, but I could have 3 of maybe 4 of these in a day if I really wanted to. So the ability to have multiples in one day and then also having a really cool variety of flavors so you don't really get fatigued on them was the idea. It's just, look, if you're going to consume caffeine, you're going to want to just, have nice, good, decent amounts throughout the day. Or if you're a complete nut, you can go ahead and consume 2 of these pre-workout and, go knock yourself out. Have a good time.
So you are putting out an energy drink.
We're finding out. So, what this weekend is about long-term projects that we've made enough pretty good progress on that we want to kind of talk about them. So that's what we've got in store for you today. When are we going to open the boxes? We're going to open the boxes?
I forgot to say,
we
it
should
is
probably
March
open one of the
31st of 2023. Last time we were here was November 11th, Goon Day 2021. So it's been a year and a half. As far as most of our followers follow your stuff and everything, but seems like you wanted to show us a lot of stuff. You're having a lot of people in this weekend. Some people, big fans and customers, are flying in, and we're going to try some new stuff. It seems like.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of like a multi-level joke to have it on April Fool's Day, because some of this stuff seems like
Absurd.
it's
Straight
just
absurd.
super ambitious or out of nowhere.
Well, Josh Shaw doesn't even think the event's happening.
I know. I tried to tell. We'll see. Maybe he'll come, but he thinks that. That would be hysterical for us to have a bunch of people show up and then just not be available at all.
Yeah. See, there's a crowd at the brewery and get back in his car, and it's that's not
it's
them.
a great way to lose 50 customers for life. But
So I think we should all make this point. It's March 31st. Tomorrow's the event, and we have purposefully, for the first time in ever for a launch for Glaxon, not learned anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
We actually completely kept.
You might know a little more than me. I don't know anything.
He doesn't
I do
really
know. That
know. He might have
pineapple
some
flavor is
innuendo.
I have
but
picked up a couple things,
Yeah.
or I think I have some.
Wait until you try the rest.
But
Yeah, we need some cups so
Well-
we can share them. I don't want to.
Didn't
Oh,
I,
yeah,
You want
we-
to share the flavors?
there were cups in the lab we
yeah,
can
is
bring
that what you
over.
want?
Joey'd hate to go to
Hey,
the lab.
then.
We've been back and forth a lot. So,
He's not around.
We can have somebody grab
we
them.
also
we have some
have-
cups that we made for this weekend too. There
Yeah,
might be
so-
cups.
Oh, there's
in
cups in there.
And we also have
all right.
boxes of promo boxes that we
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
open
yeah.
up as well. So
So yeah, in the
we
spirit
can-
of R&D
open
and
up
the
the
spirit of
subject
doing
matter.
things that people think are not real because they're too out there or preposterous or whatever. That's kind of what this whole event's about.
We get to break down each of these things and talk about some far out shit.
yeah. All right. Well, so before we get into that, I want to backtrack just slightly. I'm going to pull a mic here and say we haven't been here in a year and a half. We came 2021
yep.
for Goon Day, and Goon Day last year we didn't do anything. So we have a lot of catch up to do. We actually have not podcasted since, if you don't count the Discord podcasts, which probably should count. But these sit down podcasts are usually a little different. So before we start getting into the promo stuff, and maybe if we can convince someone to bring some cups during this interlude, I thought it would take a. Are we good?
On the far wall, the drawer furthest to the left by the break room. Yes.
Text Zach.
Or you could get the cups that we bought for this weekend if we have extras.
Glass ones or plastic?
Yeah, the plastic ones. Where
Whatever
are they?
small. Whatever
Just
small.
follow, or,
just text
grab
us.
them.
Or in the back. Plastic one would be better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can we talk a little about the last year? Like, with the last time we podcasted.
I
That
feel
was
like
an epic podcast.
I feel bad
Yeah.
because like you guys have sort of been involved in our brand story since the beginning, and last year was such a, just organizational, like in supply chain and every piece of the business was challenged and stressed to sort of level up or land grab like the opportunities we had. And so like we just kind of lost like time when it came to this kind of stuff, which is that sucks because you guys have been involved doing this with us since the beginning. But anyway, that happened because we had a monster year in GNC. We had a bunch of products that we had taken concepts and farmed out in smaller distribution and refined, and then we got to kind of showcase those in a larger distribution channel. That was also really challenging until probably late this year when inflation and supply chain.
We're finally catching up and breathing.
Yeah,
That's what's crazy. When last time we were here, I remember you were just like ordering as much citrulline as you can get your hands on. I was
Creatine
like,
too.
I jumped in your office, and that's what you were doing. And
Yeah.
I was watching it like live in action. So
We also, the last time we were here, we were asking what the GNC partnership is going to be like. Like, that's how long it's been since we've been together in person.
yeah. I mean, we
not true.
probably couldn't have. I mean, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Now we have the wall placement that they were kind enough to send us an example of right there that went up in late January. Really, really awesome opportunity. We kind of went ham on that. I don't know if you've gotten to see any of it close up, but it's like literally got the same textures and effects as our labels do.
It's cool.
That was kind of a long project to land it, but
And then it finally rolled out, and then that was neat. Getting those wall signs for the first time with the acrylic popping off the background, that was something neat.
yeah. So
You probably haven't seen one of these yet. You don't go into retail as much as I do.
no, I have not.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is a
but
pretty big
that's-
deal in GNC. Walls don't happen in GNC.
no,
like
I
nothing,
mean,
you
yeah,
know?
maybe like every half a decade.
Yeah.
I think last year
I
was
mean, I think Joey and I did it once, and you can like count back the brands like going
Yeah.
15 years, and it's not. that
Do you know who you replaced? Like, or do we not know about that?
we replaced
You
new
know, I don't wanna
noteware.
It
get into
depends on the
if I-
store.
even if I knew, I wouldn't like because I don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
want to be like that. But I
each-
think
Bad
There's-
question, podcast interviewer guy.
Well, there's different segments of GNCs, and they're all set up differently. There's different gondolas and walls, and so
yeah,
it's
so
not the same.
I think they're getting more consistent, and I think we are like an anchored piece to their new
for sure.
design.
Were these in every single GNC in America, or were there?
Yeah, as
Okay.
far as I know. I mean, there may be some that like like
Probably like
there's
military.
probably some like smaller
Yeah.
like locations that operate uniquely that maybe aren't corporate store and they don't have it, but
Is this available to franchise?
yeah, it's in
Cool.
them. It's in them, So if you go
Yeah.
to, I mean, if you go to a franchise store that's like popping that like knows us, like it definitely will be up.
Yeah.
And then those are the guys who were like, some of them are like double wall,
Yeah.
because they
get to
were
do their
early
thing.
supporters, and it's easier for them to get behind their own planogram. But yeah, that's like the short of the long of what we did with the last year.
Wait.
Here we go. All right, I'll pour mine out. You guys can pour yours, and we'll kind of share them, or
Yeah.
Let's get mononucleosis.
Let's do a round each time.
All right, who's going first?
Here, sour apple.
Yeah,
This is
go ahead.
good.
That one's probably the easiest to nail because
Yeah.
it like works pretty
Thank
awesome
you.
with the.
I was gonna ask.
I can taste the ingredient in it.
no artificial colors. Would it stay like that?
But I don't. But if you didn't know,
No,
like
no,
in this,
it
you probably
hides with
wouldn't,
citric
right?
acid,
Like if you
like,
hadn't
it
had it
hangs
this
out
morning
there.
and I gave
You're
you
right.
no innuendo, you probably wouldn't
No,
know, right?
I only know about with the flavor because I've tasted it this morning.
Yeah.
And because I taste a lot of ingredients. So
It
I probably
starts
think-
talking to you like it's gonna suck, and then it's like, oh,
I tasted it before it was there.
Yeah.
Like the vapors were already tasting.
It's good.
I want to see the acid profile of this. I mean, and also keep in mind these aren't like this isn't done.
Are we all drinking this
Yeah,
weekend,
what
or is this
version
just the
is this? This
podcast?
is like
No, everyone's getting one that comes.
Okay.
yeah, everyone gets one.
Everyone
but
yeah.
no one's going to get the same. Well, I mean, there's gonna be like a few people that'll get the same flavor,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna get one of everything. So if
So
you want
everyone
to
else is
trade,
gonna have to do
if
this.
you want to trade up, you got to trade up.
Yep.
A lot of spit swapping this weekend.
What do you guys got?
Sorry
going on
about
here?
that.
Who has herpes? Sorry.
Oh,
This is
everyone.
That's really good, not overdone. I wouldn't.
I
That
don't
would
know if
not
it's
be
a
my flavor
final.
to buy because
I
I've
don't know if
already
it's
had
a
this one.
final for me, but it's
okay.
like
I mean,
if you knew where it started, like it's
Yeah,
pretty
but what
fucking
version
good.
is this? Are we close?
3. We're on
This
3.
is version 3.
It says it on
Of
your
some
can.
flavors. Some flavors it might be different.
well, consider what version 0 was like about an hour ago when we gave you the other ingredient.
yeah.
We actually
Wait,
did
we're
it with.
drinking.
That's what's in this.
Oh, are we allowed to talk what's in this? Or
I guess. Yeah. Are we talking about this or what?
What?
before the
This
What's
is the
in this?
podcast to do it, man.
Talk about the drink.
The composition.
I mean, you can get into it like vaguely. I don't know if you want to get specific because it may change and
Yeah,
stuff.
I was
but,
gonna ask the question, Joey. Do we need another energy drink on the market?
Well, this is what makes it different, though. This is the differentiation factor
yeah, it
of this energy drink.
Do you think customers are ready to learn about this ingredient?
It's a first-to-market opportunity.
I don't think it matters because I think the experience.
Like how Buck
The
Duck doesn't
experience
actually
will
sell
be
deer antler velvet, like marketing wise.
You know, but like if Deer Antler Velvet actually did
Worked,
something,
yeah.
You know, I don't know what it does in an energy drink or pre-workout setting. Maybe it does something.
But you get my point. They
How many
marketed on that,
people
but
are
it's not
buying
what
that
people are
can
buying
Yeah,
it
so
for.
I
thinking-
don't even. I think
God
this
I
would
have
be
my
sort
antler
of the other
velvet.
way around. I don't think we would even need to market it on the just like the luxury of having that kind of ingredient and how functional it is and all that stuff. I think there's like a few things you need to do. We were talking about this earlier. Like if you want to make a lot of money in this industry, it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
Like there's a few boxes you want to check. You know, you need like a can that looks really good. You need something that tastes awesome, and then you need to give people the right kind of kick or feeling. And if you can do those 3 things, then it's just a matter of what level. You know,
You
can
should
we
have
bolt
put-
on like a bunch of audience? Can we bolt on
Yeah.
whatever else distribution and then it's gonna do well. I think it will definitely look cool. I think it won't be that hard for us to make it taste good. And then the third part is like kind of about your question. I think having, that unadulterated like ketone kind of effect for people who are just looking for that, 175 milligram caffeine dose with something tasty. It's a unique feeling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you're in between meals and you drink like that kind of amount of caffeine with ketones, like you're gonna, and the dose that we can put in this is actually superior to what we could do in something else because there's no mineral,
No salt.
yeah, there's no minerals that are sort of holding us back, like because we're gonna give people
Yeah.
diarrhea.
Is this the same this 12 ounce can? Is it the same dosage as that 2 ounces we had earlier?
How much is in
It's
2
on the top end of a dose, right?
Okay.
I think this is a tasteful 2,500 milligrams pure de-isomer
Yeah, yeah.
free acid.
Yeah, so
Wow,
this is
okay.
more than
Dude,
you would get.
Cool.
Welcome to the PricePlow Podcast.
All right, so-
we're gonna get hard on this one.
We have real like ketone acids in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so-
no salt, no mineral.
That answers the question.
acid.
Okay, so to me, like this is an alternative fuel source for those who are always like carving up or not doing the fasting thing or whatever. And like to me,
Or
like
people who fucking skip breakfast.
Yeah, or people who skip breakfast, or people who are like hungry in between the
If you-
standard
people
meals.
who-
It is an energy drink as much as it is an anti-hanger serum.
Yeah,
Nice.
but then again, like that's just like the low hanging benefit. I get a buzz from it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get
Well,
a
that's what I'm
total
saying.
buzz from it.
I got a buzz this morning when we did
yeah.
that.
that's where I was going with this. Is the people who don't ever feel their own ketones are going to get a kick out of this.
Yes.
That's where the kick is.
A unique thing that
That's how
they've
I
never
see it.
experienced
Probably
for the
most-
first
Most
time.
energy drink consumers, exactly. Like
yes.
when I have contractors at house, I always like offer them energy drinks and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They live on that stuff. They eat
Yeah,
on the
man.
road, and And
Yeah,
so
those
this-
are people probably. Yeah, I mean, most people probably that over consume energy drinks. Like, I bet you there's some correlation where like they just consume a shitload of carbs and like don't eat and crank like energy drinks, and then you know what I mean. And so
Yeah.
like this kind of kick
Sooner or
at
later,
the
you're
same
type 2
price
diabetic.
Point, like,
So generally the same price as a normal energy drink.
yeah, generally, yeah.
Let's do more flavors.
Yeah,
How about
yeah.
some orange?
Go for it.
I'm not crazy on orange, but I'm curious. How the
Orange is
flavors
easy
are.
to win.
Is this the same orange as that other
Is this the
one
Mandarin
we were
Soul?
messing with?
I think we liked this one.
Yeah,
We
what are
did?
some of the orange
Already.
options
This
you have?
isn't like. Did you? Is this the one of the ones where you defined a flavor code?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna say, yeah. Does your powder work?
Yeah.
When you're talking about powder flavors, can you go tell a liquid energy drink
Oh,
manufacturer?
100%.
They're usually interconvertible from the same manufacturer.
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was talking to Ben this morning about that, like about brands that literally have standard, co-mans blend up their stuff and then ship it off in super sacks to the to the bottling people.
Okay, I wasn't.
Yeah. In fact, there may or may not be videos on PricePlow's account about it.
So
I kind of like this, but I think we can make some.
More Mandarin notes to it.
This reminds
Well,
me
no,
of
I
the
think just
Mandarin.
maybe
Yeah.
I want to modify the acidity profile so it has more of a bite.
That would
Like
make
an,
sense.
like an orange
yeah,
candy
I was gonna say
bite.
this is
Yeah.
good. I like it because I'm not the biggest citrus person. It's almost boring. Like you need to add the orange cream or you need to add the
bite.
The bite.
Yeah, I think the
whichever
bite's
way
the
you
way
want
to
to
go.
Okay.
Or maybe like a blood orange with it or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah, that grapefruit, like a little bit of
Yeah.
punch it.
Yeah, I get like an orange.
A grapefruit ad would
candy
be
kind of
great
vibe.
on
Well,
this.
isn't blood orange is like oftentimes you just throw a little bit of raspberry or grapefruit in?
What? Raspberry on an orange?
There? Yeah.
There's a real
Blood
blood
orange.
orange.
Someone
There's a
does
real
that.
blood orange flavor.
Well, yeah, I'm aware that.
I accidentally bought blood oranges a few weeks ago at Costco instead of normal
Were you
oranges.
no good.
I sliced it open. I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with this orange?"
It's bleeding.
Did you scare you?
I was terrified.
your
I thought it was like,
This used to be a person. Now it's an orange.
This is good though.
Yeah, I mean none of these are bad. But I mean,
I gotta get the fifth one.
this could be like a year out.
you
Like
got-
we
you
might tinker with this for a year. I mean, and then you guys know enough. Like you've talked to enough brands that have sort of like gotten
hit these.
the itch to do
yeah.
a can, and it's a
MOQs.
it
are
can be a
bitch.
really long and sophisticated process to do that like exactly how you want.
Are you guys? Have you decided what kind of labeling you're doing yet? If it's gonna be a sleeve or a digital on it?
Probably sleeves to start.
We did. We messed with like some MOQs, and then that sort of influenced the way that would work. But yeah, I mean, unless
If you want to get like this kind of effect, like you're gonna have to go with the sleeve.
you
You can do
actually,
some of this stuff on
Cellucor
some
has and who else has a
The
printed
new
can?
smart one is really nice.
Yeah, they have a printed can with effect.
And Jocko has it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be done, but I think you're looking at like million can kind of
Oh, yeah.
distribution before
yeah.
you can do that. So I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
up there.
I don't know. It's probably like a minimum of where you wouldn't like pay through the nose on it.
Better.
A couple $100,000 per design.
All right, who's got
But-
next?
I got pineapple.
Oh, I want that.
I'm all about this.
That one's probably awesome.
It is. Hopefully, I have enough for you guys. 'Cause I've been drinking so much of it. Good enough.
Yeah.
Knee play.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's really good. You can like taste the bromelain.
I like this one. This one's staying. This is
Like
definitely
it has
staying.
the
far as
bite
I'm
that like
concerned-
real pineapple has.
So
that,
you gave
that
me this
enzyme.
energy drink. I didn't even realize what was in it. I'm like, this tastes more like a pineapple drink and less like an energy drink. There's none of that.
It tastes like pineapple juice
Cough
out of a
syrup.
can.
Yeah.
Is that
That-
good
that-
though? Like
Yeah, hell yeah.
You want it to taste like an energy drink though, right? Because like the expectation. No.
No,
There's 10 million drinks out there that taste like energy
Dude,
drinks.
there was a
You got to make it taste good. Good.
Yeah, I mean you just gotta make it taste good. Really, is the bottom line.
Yeah. There were a few
That's steak
really
ready.
popular brands last year that came out with cans, and
Uh-huh.
the biggest complaint on a couple of them was it just tasted like generic energy drink.
We we did demo a flavor in like the first round, and it was like
Well-
it was basically like it didn't have a flavor on it, but it was just like energy.
Energy
drink, you know what I
drink.
mean?
You know what
And
I'm
it
talking
was,
about? Yeah.
Some kind of like Red
we're like,
Bull Monster
that's
mashup
Monster.
combo.
That's
yeah,
definitely
Yeah.
Monster.
yeah. It was spot on. I'll have to say.
They did a couple of them that were dialed in on various energy drink concepts, and they were just like, "Do you want this? This?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
You want a Red Bull? You
think
want a
we-
White Monster?
"Yeah."
kind of
exactly.
shifted
Yeah.
our like opinion to like I think it would be more compelling for us to be really distinct like across flavors because people are like I am personally, when I walk in to buy an energy drink, like I hate having to like kind of figure out like, okay, is this like some, you know, triple combo of a flavor, or is this just strawberry, or like what is this? I think it'd be kind of cool if you could reach for a brand and it would just be, you know, really distinct,
Quintessential
awesome pineapple,
pineapple.
awesome cherry, awesome this. And then maybe you can get into some exotic stuff, but
I think this makes sense.
Yeah.
Just shooting it straight.
But it's such a gateway drug for ketones that's why I love it.
Yeah. I'm all
Simple
in.
flavors.
Like, can I
You
invest?
still got your
there's like a
caffeine.
previous, I think we may have talked about it on some other podcasts and stuff, but there is like probably a year or so long conversation with just like people on the supply chain of this like situations, like
We
to
were
make it
heavily
possible for us.
Yeah,
like,
we had some of those calls around that
Yeah,
time.
they've
Like,
lobbied for us in
Yeah,
this whole
we-
effort.
yeah, so
Thank
like
you
you
for
guys
saying.
have
I don't wanna
definitely
take the
like
blame,
jumped
like-
in and helped that cause.
Like we literally got on. And we're like, you don't fucking know who Glaxon is.
Yeah,
like,
your
like,
WTF's
Yeah.
can
And
only
then,
go
you
in
know,
so
like,
many
and then
directions.
Yeah.
the last year, like the land grab and the GNC, and then like us just like sort of having no availability, that also opened up like the conversation, because then people were like, oh, okay, these guys aren't just like trying to do fancy shit,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, I mean that's a big one, and like the part of the reason that Genesis has got ketones is to sort of open up this paradigm, you know, where we can have maybe like Glaxon can be associated with ketones and like emerging into more of a performance and nootropic.
That's why I went so hard on that Genesis content when it
Yeah.
came out, because like
No, you
literally,
crushed it on that. That was great.
thank you. That was the perfect LinkedIn video.
You guys ready for
Yes.
raspberry?
I thought I said grape. Or do you?
I have raspberry.
Oh,
there
that
may
means
be
Cody's got
grape.
Cody's got great.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's coming over. Don't
Oh,
worry.
yeah. We got to try that too.
Thank you.
Oh, Cody should have been getting all these samples too. If you go back over our content over the last 4 years now, wow, 4 years of Glaxon.
Almost 4 in November, right?
2019. I go based off of end of 2019.
Okay.
This reminds me of some Willy Wonka candy from forever.
It reminds me of another popular drink that's out there, and I'm not going to say it, but that was my first impression.
That's really good.
This one
You
sent
know,
me down a
it
rabbit
exists.
hole, or a memory
It's
hole.
an emerging, like, you know, drink that's out there right now. Might be.
There's a
one
couple
over there.
Yeah, there's a couple brands.
Okay.
Kind of tastes like the red one to me.
Oh.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But that's
But
I think.
why?
Well, that's because I think that's what it is. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Just
a
one thing.
super sour,
Yeah.
raspberry, and then maybe a little strawberry
Well, then
or
it's
something.
sweet in the end. Yeah.
But it's mostly. So there's when you get strawberry flavors, you can get like your regular raspberry. Then you can get like what they call a blue raspberry, which is not blueberry flavor, but it's like more of a tart, like not sweet vibe. And then there's the red raspberry, and that's what this is. And it's like more of that candy, like super ripe strawberry.
That's really good.
You know, so
It's
yeah.
almost creamy.
Yeah.
I think this.
Yeah, it has that like
ready to
little
go.
like it has that whatever that is. I don't know.
Yeah.
What
It's
it is.
raspberry?
It's kind of
I'm
like
getting a
It
little bit
spreads out over your tongue. Like
Yeah, the orange clanged to my mouth a bit. I think I haven't fully recovered, but pineapple.
Really
I
good.
like pineapple first, like Coke Pepsi challenge. Pineapple sip was best, but this raspberry flavor is the one. If you force me to buy a case, I'm getting
Yeah.
a case of raspberry.
I
I
would
don't
do,
know if I want
I would
that
do a
much
raspberry pineapple. That'd be pretty lovely.
pineapple. Yeah, I was also thinking. See how that goes. Whoop.
Good enough.
Oh man, made a mess.
man.
They kind of nullified each other.
Oh, that sucks. I hate it when that happens.
Are we finishing up with grape?
All right,
Is there enough left?
so
Oh, womp womp.
there's enough grape. Glasses. Then we can get on to the rest of this stuff. Because there's more stuff coming.
Man, I feel so bad for people who aren't coming tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's gonna, and then that'll be like another kind
Well,
of like
I guess the
like another
joke's
kind of
on them.
homage to the joke and the con and the whole thing. Like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you thought it was a joke, so you missed out. You know.
Yeah, I if you guys do this again, I want to pitch in from PricePlow side and try
Did
to
you pour
raffle
up the
off
grape?
tickets, like all paid expenses trips to
That
come to
would be.
this.
Man.
I know at the last
We
second.
think of ideas way too late.
No, I thought of this in the middle of it, and I just thought of what a pain in the ass it would be to raffle off a couple $1,000.
Wait, what is this? I already,
This is great. Did you get any yet?
I just got some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all got it.
I'm good.
The rest is Cody's. All right, great.
I recognize this grape.
Cody, come get the rest of your can.
Oh, that's different.
I recognize this grape too.
Yeah. We use this grape
This
already.
is where the flavor codes
Tranquility?
come into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
But that's like that grape is so awesome.
There's no reason
After
to fuck with it.
after the original Tranquility, like kind of putting Magnolol in a drink.
I don't
and then
even.
that was like when we were doing that. I remember TK ran like a challenge where it was like just chug
The
like
chug challenge.
chug
yeah.
challenge because he was like, oh, well, we'll just market that like it's so bad tasting that you have to chug
Is that what it was?
in our formative.
Man, I
days.
was out here chugging Tranquility every
No,
single
I mean
night.
it was cool. Like yeah,
It was- that
it
was-
worked
that
out.
was
Like
sedative,
it worked.
by the way.
Yeah, it was sedative.
Yeah.
But
I did that here. You
Right.
gave me the thing,
And then
but-
you chugged it.
That was the funny thing was I didn't want to chug it anymore because the cherry is like my fucking favorite flavor
Well,
in the world.
once we got it figured out, and then it became
Yeah,
Tranquility.
you gave me the
we went
advanced
off
thing.
on the flavors.
But we were out here chugging.
But the original sedative, like it had Magnolol and Anokiol like 90% in there, and that stuff
It was bad.
That stuff is not like it is really really foul.
I'll be honest. I don't really think a lot of sleep aids taste very good in the first place.
Well, now I think like Tranquility is like
Yeah,
top of our
100%.
flavor, probably maybe
I mean, Tranquility's top of most of the category. And I think that's a big compliment to Glaxon too, because early on, like I don't mean it's a negative way, but like if you were like name the best flavor, like Glaxon wouldn't have come to mind early on.
Well, I mean, we didn't intend to brand ourselves on flavor early on. I think we had a lot of shit like to prove, and I mean, flavors was something obviously we want to prove we can do that, but
this is stupid good. This grape.
we were trying to front run.
I would like to hear your comments.
Apparently,
know.
Michael doesn't trust Mike's flavor.
Oh well, I
anymore.
mean, when I found out that he liked like pure ethyl ester ketones, like I'm like, well, okay.
Whoa, what?
we have a video of it. We got to put
let's
up
pour,
over this.
pour him up some like gasoline,
we
like
poured him-
93, and see
we
like
poured
if
him
he
those-
gives it, if he rates it.
those ketones, and he drinks it straight face. He's like, that was spicy.
It wasn't that
Yeah.
bad.
It
I
does.
was expecting
Michael and I
acid,
are like
though.
out here coughing in Houston traffic.
Yeah,
like,
I literally like I forgot how bad it was. Remember, I brought you like some too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I forgot how bad it was, and I like took a sip, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like this
Michael
is,
and I are dying in
you
the,
could-
All
in
right,
the
so
car.
my ketone expectation was absolutely horrid, but when I drank the one that you gave me, I was like, I've had worse.
that one
I
that
have
you
had
drank
worse.
was different. The one that I don't know if you saw the one he drank today, but
No,
it was
I
the
haven't-
one that was 4 servings in there.
I'm gonna have to try it later.
Okay.
And anyway,
Back to you, Mike.
yeah.
So this grape flavor, you're shooting it straight with the pineapple. I think the grape flavor is awesome. It doesn't fully taste like just regular grape though. You know?
No, not like grapes, not like grape juice. This is more of like a snow coney grape.
Okay.
It is like a very much like an artificial grape flavor, but there is something nostalgic about that smell and taste to it. It's not grapes.
Right.
I
but
don't like
it's
grape
like-
flavoring.
But so pineapple, you're definitely getting
it.
pineapple.
Yeah.
Would someone buy pineapple and then be like, well,
a great
this one's
point.
a little weird, but that one's
a great
a true
point.
name. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I
It
mean,
would be how
good
you
though.
brand the can. You have to brand this flavor as like a grape snow cone,
Yeah,
like
Sure.
a candy
There you go.
grape.
That's fine.
The pineapple would have like a legit like
Big
pineapple
old
on it.
pineapple on it.
Yeah, that's half of like the psychology of flavoring is it's conveying
putting
it to
a
the consumer.
logical expectation for the consumer, so they know what they're coming up into.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I spilled in the last podcast too, and it was driving me crazy.
It's okay. It's good luck. Anyway,
I like these hands
So
on.
this is
podcasts.
great. Honestly, I'm like way excited. I don't know if you heard me. I said, where can I invest?
clean,
Because-
simple,
how do you
moderate
get involved
caffeine
in
and
this?
ketones.
Yeah. Now let's talk about. So you do have a differentiator, and that probably helps it. But all right, there's 10 other billion Joe Schmoes out there trying to sell their energy drink now. So what does Glaxon got to do to kick someone out of the shelf or whatever? Like, and I think you've already kind of answered the questions. You already got presence in GNC.
We've already got presence. I mean, we just simply need to exist. And then when people try it, I mean, the flavors will hook them. But then the thing is, like, when they try our stuff for the first time, they're going to realize it's different from everybody
Yeah.
else. And in a good way, too. So I think just like, you know, on the field Pepsi challenge aspect of it, we're going to get a lot of people because they're going to see we're new, we're different. You can try us for the first time. I did the same stuff with like G Fuel and all that whenever it came out. Be like, well, what am I getting here?
I mean,
but-
this feels distinctly different.
It feels. I mean, it tastes great and it does feel distinctly different. And
We're on a lot of different compounds, but I can definitely feel
Granted.
it.
Feels different than like a
Granted.
regular. Feels different than like a regular energy drink.
Yeah.
Not many of them feel that different. I think Ghosts has like a unique feeling because it's
carnitine,
like one of the first
carnitine,
with,
neurofactor.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think
Choline.
of like whatever. I drank the Das Labs one time, but it has huperzine in it, and I really hate it.
Have you had their Gamer one that has half a dose of New Level in it?
No, is it good?
That's
But anyway, it's few and far between, like where you can have an experience with an energy drink where you're like,
Wow,
this has
this
got
is-
its own sort of
Right.
vibe.
Is there anything else in here? Is there choline? or
CDP
any-
choline.
There is. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
My man.
Cognizant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cognizant's making a big push in energy drinks.
They
Well,
are
because
we are
they're
trying to make a
legit.
big push on like making an impact in the choline space. If you want a 15-second banger,
Do you want to put our foot in that?
Give us this. Give us this clip.
Joey, are you
they can cut it up.
Give me
And
the
they can
clip.
cut it
Ready
up,
to
and then
go?
we can like kind of they
All
can
right.
cut it up, and we can have a conversation about like whether or not we want to do that. They also
about we
might
just-
not want to do it too because like they're literally gonna like kick every
I'm
brand
gonna
they
break
work with in the
this
nuts.
fucking can of worms open.
Are we talking about the
piss
study?
on everyone's
Yeah,
fun.
I mean the Japanese.
We've
study.
been waiting to bring this up, so we might as well do it.
All right. So turns out there's a handful of compounds that we all consume quite a lot in a lot of products, and this is like blowing up a grenade in my face and everyone else's at the same time.
Well, we're working on a fix, and it's not like it's
We
not
believe
like
that
a
we're some of the only
absolutely-
people capable of working on a fix. So it's a fun little challenge to consider. Choline, betaine, carnitine, and all their family members. So we're talking choline, acetylcholine, or acetylcholine's internal, but it was acetylcholine, bitartrate, choline chloride, alpha GPC, definitely. We'll get to that in a second. CDP choline, granted to a lesser degree, but basically every form of choline, phosphocholine, the stuff you're talking about, the egg studies and all that stuff. And then there's
forgot we were on
carnitine,
that
L-carnitine tartrate, L-carnitine base, L-carnitine fumarate, acetyl L-carnitine, propionyl carnitine, glycine propanyl L-carnitine, betaine, anhydrous betaine hydrochloride, gamma butyrobetaine, all these things.
Betaine bound to like things like amino acids.
Yeah,
Anything that it would be broken down,
nitrates.
anything that would break down into betaine is a problem.
They all share this quaternary like trimethylammonium thing that is part of their molecular structure, and that is broken down into TMA, trimethylamine, which is then converted by your microbial, symbiotes that you have into trimethylamine and oxide, and this is then absorbed into the blood where it contributes to all kinds of different things. Even though it is osmolytic, it exerts it's pro anti or what is it, atherosclerotic plaques. It like basically helps contribute to forming those foam cells, and this TMAO stuff is apparently what increases your risk of heart disease like significantly.
And Alzheimer's and
A lot of
early
stuff.
onset dementia. And and you guys have seen that Japanese study. It was like over 10 years.
It was a
like,
10-year
Like
study.
1 million people in it or something ridiculous.
because alpha GPC is a drug over there.
Right. So
Yeah.
here's
well,
the thing.
Well, let's do the disclaimer.
Here's the
Do the
soundbite that
disclaimer.
like opts everyone out of it. Like none of this stuff is acutely dangerous.
No.
We are talking about like basically luxurious, modern, preventative healthcare.
Sure.
And that's the basically what this study is under the guise of. Like, hey, how can we look like our aging population in Japan
They're
is
trying
living
to
to
help.
be really old. Let's see if we can even move the needle more.
Yeah.
All these compounds make TMAO.
And
Can
over
we
the
back
course,
this up for
But-
people like catching up here. There's
Okay.
a study in Japan that has at least a million people in it that showed that alpha GPC in particular, but Joey's saying this is also part of a larger group of things, can increase stroke risk. In this study, they said 60%.
over the course of 10 years.
And it was-
and I think that might be
and
low.
ev-
I think it was higher than that, like 70
It
something.
was dose dependent. But it is prescribed to folks with Alzheimer's who are already at risk. The type 3 diabetes, they're already at risk of these diseases. But the data is strong and it's alarming. So
Yes.
So the point being that the participants were at risk, and they were prescribed alpha GPC. They were not taking a pre-workout or
Right,
something.
right.
They needed this, and they were given it, and they were already at risk. But still, like you're saying, the data is
Right.
compelling.
And so
Well, yeah.
choline is an essential nutrient. So I personally think that
Can't live without it.
This is the
the
dose
source of the choline is a problem then because I sort of was like, Joey, go find out which ones aren't like going to be impacted by this. Turns out basically all of them are.
But they're
However,
varying degrees.
Phosphatidylcholine, which is the one that you would find in eggs and other like seeds and stuff like that, and Kiowa's claim to fame, Cognizant, is going to be
There's
less
actually
affected.
Yeah.
That's sort of a conversation.
There's a whole study
about,
on Cognizant that talks about its TMAO conversion, and
Right.
it's considerably less than any of the other forms of choline.
But in fairness to everyone else in the market, the reason that it's less impactful is because, like, on a gram for gram basis, it's less actual choline.
Right.
You know what
True.
I mean? So,
Fair.
Right. Like,
and that's sort of the case for the phosphatidylcholine.
Yeah.
But those are superior delivery forms, perhaps, of choline.
Phosphatidylcholine is used a lot by the body because it's a phospholipid as well.
Right. So like maybe that balances itself out. But anyway, like it's a problem that we're looking at in the spirit of like sort of front running where maybe things should go, and how can we catalyze that and do something cool and make an impact outside of just making money.
How could you mitigate
Joey
it?
has been, like, he's divested a pretty decent amount of time into looking into probiotic health options that can mitigate the process of the TMAO. And there are options.
There's quite a few.
Yeah,
So I think you'll see us like probably make a 180 shift and then put a bunch of people on blast over it. Not directly, but just kind of being like, hey, this isn't going to be good at some point.
It's a conversation we need to have. I mean, if you take a further step back, there's a lot of data showing that overconsumption of eggs, like what is regular consumption of eggs?
I think Hulk Hogan having like 24 a day is probably overconsumption.
Exactly. So
I have 4 every morning. Do you think that's overconsumption?
No, I don't.
I personally do at this point. You're big.
See, that's the interesting
So,
thing.
Okay, so
Really?
if you look
See,
at
like,
the data,
I'm
it's
Joey's
like
side.
1 egg a day kind of seems normal. Like in the Mediterranean Italian diet, we use it as like a binder. And then this whole like schlonking 6 eggs a day and all that stuff, I don't think is a
well,
really,
that's just excessive.
like, natural.
But, that's
Well, if it's
overeating,
4,
really.
I mean,
I don't think
but
4
it's-
is that bad. That
Depends
like
if anyone's
your
eating
normal
double eggs
diner
at the party
omelets.
or
It
not.
really depends
Are you
on-
eating
I
them
know
all
myself.
at one same time?
It's just by breakfast. 3 eggs or 4 eggs.
4 eggs? I mean, yeah, 4 eggs.
4 eggs and a bagel.
It's a big breakfast. That's a big breakfast.
And it's a conversation
I'm a
that
big
needs to be
person.
had. But okay, over the
well,
course
yeah,
of time,
but you like. I
That's
mean,
like 24 grams of protein.
right. It's not about the protein. The high choline consumption. I think there is an overflow or something that's happening. And when we have too many, there's a lot of studies showing that there is increased mortality with higher egg consumption. There's increased diabetes with higher egg consumption.
You can say that about meat too.
Yeah, and so I don't like getting into.
Where do you think they're getting their carnitine from? And
right.
from the red meat, the choline from the eggs. I mean, maybe if there's a study where people eat a whole bunch of beets, they'll show that the betaine increases TMAO and decreases their lifespan.
So let me ask.
So, I don't like getting it. Like the egg, they love us arguing about eggs, of course, and everything. Like this is a big thing to argue about. But I've kind of shifted back away from eating a crap ton of eggs, and that's kind of where I'm at after looking at some of this, especially because eggs have the.
I mean, it makes me
phosphatidylcholine.
think twice about like feeding my kids like eggs every single day for their young lives.
well, let me ask you something.
But then there's another study out there, and I don't like have it off the top of my head, but if you Google it, you can find it. There's another study out there where like this doesn't actually happen as much in adolescence. And that may be part of the like
Maybe
gut
they have higher
microbiome.
safeguards
Well,
in
it's the
place
gut
for young-
microbiome
Yeah.
thing, and you're an adult gut microbiome,
I think
and the
this-
child's aren't the same.
The child exception, I think, is also the same exception for athletes. Anyone who is more physically active, kids who play or people who work out, have a higher carnitine and choline turnover than anybody else. So if they're just replenishing what is lost, then they might be breaking even on this whole TMAO,
So,
paradigm.
all right, so let me ask you, for the couple last years, we've had a really big boom in like nootropics, right?
Sure.
We've got Huberman Lab with like 4 million followers telling people to go take alpha GPC every single day.
Is he telling people
Right?
to take alpha
Yes.
GPC?
Yes, alpha GPC is a big recommendation of
I
his
mean,
right
maybe we
now.
should talk to him about this. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not a
What dose?
stupid
Well,
guy, so
Well,
600.
I'm using him in this clip.
you know his
so-
if I could
Well, let
try
me-
to speak for him, he'd probably say that like we're talking about like very advanced preventative health, and then
Well, let me
acute
ask you.
lifestyle problems.
Let me ask you, like, he's recommending, like 300, 600 milligrams a day. Are there millions of people out there taking that every single day? Are they shortening their lifespan? Like that, that kind of habitual
Yes,
thing.
I mean, yeah, probably so.
Not so much acutely, but in the long-term exposure, probably.
No,
so.
I mean, it's like that's the problem with this whole study is that like
That's the
they
problem with this whole place what we're
100%
looking at
are,
right now.
In my opinion, shortening their lifespan because you're looking at like this is a 10-year study with like 1 million people or something.
We're also talking about unhealthy,
but like all the
unactive
cardio, all the
think
heart
unhealthy,
health
unactive
issues,
people
all the
are listening to Andrew
heart health
Huberman?
markers went up. Like
That's why I
all
asked
the
the question.
brain health markers were poor.
Yeah, but those people they're like laying in a hospital bed, right? Like,
Well-
weren't these people all elderly and sick and stuff?
Well, not necessarily because it's over a
it was
decade.
a 10-year study.
It's over a decade.
They might not
And
have been to begin
It
with.
wasn't just like a sickly group. It was like everyone.
Okay.
I mean,
God,
I'll
if
find
I'm in
it.
the
It was
fucking
like-
hospital,
they were
for 10 years.
prescribed
They
alpha
weren't getting
GPC.
prescribed it unless they needed it, so they were already far along the path or whatever. Here was my question with the energy drink, though. You mentioned
Yes.
you could drink 3 or 4 of these in a day. Or
Sure.
Is
Do
there
you
going to
still
be too
feel
much
that way?
choline at that point? Yeah. If you, I don't know how you're doing.
It's CDP choline, so I mean, you got to take that for what it's worth. And
Sorry, something went wrong. I couldn't resume.
oh my,
Siri.
we can't resume anymore. We have to stay right here.
The producers are.
I don't even remember what you just asked me.
We're talking about how many of these can you
Oh,
drink in a
CDP
day.
choline wise.
Like, yeah. So here's, I'm worried about overconsumption from all these different sources.
You're worried about the children.
And yeah, that too.
Okay.
But you can't really help. You can't tell what someone's going to eat. So if someone's
No.
already taking 6 eggs a day, they probably don't need any more supplemental choline. If I'm eating 0 eggs a day, now I'm probably pretty good with taking a pre-workout that's got a little bit of choline.
Here's my thing, dude. I think that of all the things that we could be doing for ourselves that are bad, we are mitigating a lot of that risk by just eating well and being active.
Yeah.
Like net health, net longevity. I think we are putting so many good eggs in the basket that the rotten ones are a low percentage.
Right.
And there's other like nutritional ingredients that are also good eggs you may be throwing in your basket that are already mitigating TMAO, and you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Are you confident that TMAO is the actual mechanism?
I'm
that's
pretty
causing
well.
it?
Here's the thing.
That's
There's
what they think in that stroke study.
there's a couple of different ways to attack it because the conversion of TMA into TMAO in the gut by the microbiome is what is causing that part. There's a step in the gut that has to happen first, then it gets in the bloodstream. So we have to approach this from multiple angles. How do we stop it from happening in the gut so it's never formed in the first place? The second thing is once it's in the bloodstream, how are you going to mitigate it there? And then those are the two different ways that we're looking at trying to work with this.
Interesting.
Can you
Okay.
just, like, for instance, I don't think Cody is going to know what TMA and TMAO is, and I usually use them a little bit of
I could
skim
draw you
for,
a
like,
picture
viewers.
if you want.
Could you conceptually tell us a little bit about what this thing is?
Okay.
Because
Can I draw something?
It's a thing
I-
that
I've
is
got it.
not good for you.
well, yeah.
I mean, the short of the long of it is it's a compound that's not good for you, that's produced in your guts when you eat things that have high concentrations of choline or betaine. So meat, eggs.
Perfect. That's what we needed.
yeah.
That was all we
Right.
needed. Yeah.
And it doesn't go away.
This is
so
gonna drive
it
this is gonna
at
drive-
first it becomes TMA and then it gets oxidized after a while and then it just hangs out and then
Yeah.
it piles up and it piles up and then it contributes to poor heart health and brain health.
Yeah, I don't want everyone being all afraid. This is gonna turn into the next vegan push and like just bookmark this.
Well,
spot.
I mean,
I don't want everyone being all
Our
afraid.
point is that it's not really diet related. Like we're talking about supplements, which is like concentrated doses of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're talking about an emergence of nootropics where
That's
there's
what I'm
like
talking about. Yeah,
people
yeah.
are taking single serving 100% daily value choline multiple times a day.
Right.
Right.
That's where like when Joey and I sort
You're
of
not
like
making this anymore,
discuss
you don't
this.
understand.
No, I'm not. I'm just.
We're like, hey,
understanding
we
at
need
this
to
point.
peel out the choline content in our products because like we are trying to take longevity as a lifestyle, like in supplements, and mingle it into this like typical performance stuff. And
Your
I think
choline-
we've done a decent job of
Your
doing
doses
it.
aren't crazy unless someone's already eating a crap load of eggs, though. And
Right.
I don't see.
But
I
I'm
get,
not
I get worried that
necessarily-
they're
We're
I'm
gonna-
not
never
worried
going to
if-
get
they're
Hulk
gonna use
Hogan
this-
as an affiliate.
They're gonna use this to go after meat again.
Well, that's
and,
fine.
like,
They can
that's
villainize
total
eggs and
nonsense.
meat and
Yeah.
shit if they want to.
Or
and
we just
whatever,
fucking
but
launch this product that mitigates TMAO and tell them to shut the fuck up.
And then you have
I
your snakes.
personally really don't think that, like, I just believe in the power of food. Personally, I'm not afraid of eating high choline foods because I believe that other things going on in the body. I believe that, like, just if I eat quality foods, there's got to be some
Yeah.
sort
And
of
your activity,
like,
obviously.
inhibitor
You
going
have
on
a
or something.
balanced
I
diet.
always-
This
Exactly.
isn't a problem. I'm
I'm-
worried about people who are like pounding, like 2 grams of choline a day.
Exactly. That was my question.
There are people who
because-
formulate with 2 grams of choline.
I've had a period of my life where
studies
I
that show it.
early on, like probably 2018, like when we had just like there was like a bag in the lab of Cognizant.
Yeah.
And Joey and I would just like midday slump, like throw back like 2 grams of it because the clinical on it was like 2 grams.
At least if you
2020,
have
you guys
dementia.
did that to me before I went to the newbie
and,
workout.
Looking back, like I don't want that much fucking choline because it like gives me body aches, like it gives me headaches, like all these things happen. It's not as likely to happen with CDP choline because the actual choline content is pretty low.
When I started working at PricePlow, someone called Mike and told him I'm not a true biohacker. And I remember I
Son
took
of
that,
a bitch.
And you
I
took
took
it
that quite
personally,
personally,
and-
and I started taking 1,200 milligrams of alpha GPC 3 times a day. I think Sean Wells told me. to
Did
do
that
or
make you a
something.
biohacker?
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to.
I'm gonna be.
I got
honest with you.
a lot of
You
mental
get,
fucking fog
if you
from
can
that.
get into
The video
Sean
has been
Wells'
taken
inner
down.
circle, then
Oh.
you're
He had a
definitely-
video. The intro. I love Sean Wells. Obviously, he's been on this podcast many times. His introductory nootropic stack was 600 milligrams alpha GPC 3 times a day. It's still in that
I don't know
podcast.
that.
We had a cutout clip of that, and I put it on private on YouTube until we figure out what's going on. So
Yeah.
I am more like I didn't want more people to watch that video and take these astronomical doses. So if you felt brain fog from it, I think there's an overflow mechanism.
I agree.
know
I
think
it's
you can take
TMAO.
some-
I thought the
choline.
fog was
So how do you
CDP choline
formulate-
when I've gone over on CDP choline.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So how do
overwhelm
you
watch on CBD
formulate?
choline.
How do you formulate not knowing how many cans they're going to have or how many eggs they're going to eat in their diet?
Dr.
You know?
Sybil Swift said on our podcast last week,
Free
you
will.
cannot regulate free will, and the FDA does not. They regulate the label.
I understand,
Yeah.
that, but I'm asking Joey, like, how
sure.
are you going to formulate your energy drink and your pre-workout and this and that without knowing someone's diet? It's like a multivitamin too. You still have like these. You know,
Well, what's silly about like this kind of drink is where do you want to draw the line on like their caffeine usage? Like at a gram? So like 2 of them would be 350. So you could do that like 2.5 times roughly.
It's kind of scary. You honestly
that's
probably
like
could do that.
5-ish.
yeah.
By the time you get there, I mean, the amount of ketones you've ingested at that point is going to be pretty fucking ridiculous, and you're still going to be under the dementia threshold
That's like
dose
12
of
okay.
CDP choline.
Gotcha.
So, you know,
Dude, that's like 20.
you're gonna be maxed out on caffeine. You're gonna be under the max on the Cognizant, but you're gonna be way over on the ketones.
12 grams of ketones, dude.
Like ridiculous.
I don't know if anyone can tell. Like, we're feeling good here. This drink is.
Let's get into
Yeah,
the
I mean, it
box.
gives you
So, yeah, I
like
don't
a
know,
badass like buzz and kick.
Yeah.
Joey and I
Like,
took a lot of things
Here's
before
the
this
deal,
podcast.
folks. I've already been alluding to it a little bit. I don't think we should have astronomical doses of choline. We don't know enough. We should just do. We need to be continued. But I do think that
We've talked
people
about
need to look
one
at
of
these
like
studies.
the 3 major things that are going to be happening this weekend.
Oh, really? Okay, so this
is one of 3.
Okay,
We still have promo boxes.
I wasn't sure if this was going to come up or whatever because
Let's hit a pause because I have to pee.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else? Because we energy drinks and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, do what
Yeah.
you gotta do. We're not like I don't think we're panicked to rush because this isn't live.
All right. So what do we have here?
So this is really cool because everyone's gonna be getting a promo box tomorrow, and we get a lot of people that want to try promo boxes. People get like jealous that we get them, and I think it's pretty cool that there's gonna be a decent amount of people that are gonna get access to them. But people are gonna get to see us open what they would have gotten if they had come to this event right now.
At least some of the things. They're going to get a few more things than you guys do. Promo stuff.
Awesome.
There you go.
Now the worst part about flying here instead of just driving in is I didn't get my knife.
Well, yeah. I got caught with a knife too by security. So,
I've had to dump a few
pencil.
at airports. Okay, so I see an energy drink, a cup,
all right. So the energy drink we've already broken into.
nice pint glass with a.
Glass. Let's go.
So
So you're part of the Glaxon R&D team if you come to this party.
those bracelets are what are going to get people food and beer and stuff tomorrow.
Oh, I have a chocolate cereal sample.
When do I get a bracelet?
That is Glaxon Super Cereal.
It's a high protein cereal
Nathan.
with fava
Super
flour,
cereal.
upcycled pea starch, oat fiber, pea protein, calcium carbonate, and then we got the chocolate flavored coating.
There's something else in there too that might not be on that
Monk
list.
fruit.
And
This is fat free.
And
21
it's
carbs.
decent protein. But the real tech that's in that is that there is a hydrophobic coating on the outside of the cereal. It's a hydrophobic nano coating that
Expired in
It-
2019.
it does what it can. Yeah, the patent expired in 2019. It's for cereals. But what this does is it increases like the bowl life, if you will. So your cereal doesn't get soggy as quick as, it
so
normally
it's
would.
super cereal.
So yes, they call it super cereal.
The-
So this is it's not insanely high protein. It's 6 grams of protein.
But it's better than what's on the shelf anyway.
Right. Awesome. So
More protein, no fat, and then the carbs are still there because like part of this,
It is
hydrophobic coating is glycogen.
interesting.
It is a glycogen-based coating.
Really?
Yes. So you're getting glycogen and you're getting
Is
protein.
anyone using this anywhere at all?
Nowhere.
Did you develop this or
No, this was actually developed by the University of California, Davis, owned by a Canadian company that was then acquired by Mebel Biochemistry, and I tracked the whole fucking thing. I knew who had this patent, like 6 months ago. My nephew, of all people, I tasked him. I go, find me some sort of an edible hydrophobic coating for cereals, and he's like, bet. And he does some.
before we had AI capabilities.
Yeah.
we
What did
had,
your cousin do that he knows what that means?
What, Garrett? He's been
got
my
Google.
nephew.
He had Google.
He had Google. Yeah, I've been teaching him how to do research and stuff. So I basically tasked
Anyway, so
him
the
with this.
demonstration on this would be to maybe grab a glass of water, drop them in there, and
See if they're
your
still hard.
normal, your cereal.
Yeah,
normally would
they should be rated
soggy.
to be like 80% less or not soggy at 5 minutes.
I tried it when I went home. It's pretty fucking hard to make
I
it
dropped them in.
soggy.
They look like Cocoa Puffs.
We
Hey,
should have
Siri.
put some. We
Listeners
should have
out
put
there.
some chocolate milk
Hey,
protos
Siri.
in that.
Oh, you're on do not set a timer
Thank
for
you.
5 minutes.
Honestly, these are just really fucking good
So
on their own.
the other interesting thing
The
is
harp-
that the that's probably the maybe cooler, easy thing to explain to people. Then there's two different versions of what's in
It
it
may.
and how it's made. Yeah, but that's just chocolate coating.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
the,
this is the wristband.
the coating is the spray too, right?
Yes.
So yeah, the spray that makes it hydrophobic also has some.
We kind of
flavoring in
want to
it,
sell
too.
it like this and not as an actual cereal where it's just like some sort of a snack you can have
Well,
at your
it's a cereal
desk.
snack, but that's
I'd
what
eat this.
people do. A lot of people buy those little one-offs and then they just eat them.
Like sweet chips.
I need to try some.
Can you tell me about fava flour? That's the first
Will you
ingredient.
throw?
As far as that
Probably.
one,
Will you throw some of
like
that in there?
yeah,
I wanna
it's
see.
not Peptid Strong, but it this.
Cool.
That's where I was going.
So-
You
It'd
have
be
a-
cool to
you have a product
commercialize
that has-
Peptid Strong
we
and
have
massively.
we have 2 formulas that we're going with that we've gotten some work done on. One of them is a completely vegan option. The other one is the non-animal based whey protein, the beta lactoglobulin.
vegan option that's not available
Perfect
in
day.
the market yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect day.
So we've got the Perfect Day cereal, and then we've got a vegan cereal, and we've done
It's just-
tests
this
with
is the
both of
vegan.
them. Yeah.
So the vegan one is a process of pea that's not commercially available to
True.
anybody yet.
So it's a special pea protein that we've been playing with.
I would
Have
say
they
that you
tried
need
the
to tell
powder
everyone-
of it?
You need to tell everyone this is vegan, though. it's.
No,
You can kind of tell.
I mean,
I
know.
was gonna say you can smell something. It's not exactly the pea protein cell. It's got to be the fava.
Once
but-
you say it's vegan, you'll probably be like, oh, I can taste it. It's gritty or drier on the inside.
Nah.
But the only
No,
reason that
smell
it's
dope.
dry on the inside is because
We're not eating any
we
milk.
haven't gotten to the stage in development where we're flavoring
the core.
The core. So the only part that has the flavoring.
So
is
then
the
it won't do
outside.
that in milk. So we're gonna have it flavored and colored
There's a
throughout.
way to get it to get it blended in before the emulsion or before the extrusion happens. And that's what you get with when you buy Cocoa Puffs, just the regular cereal.
But
It's flavored throughout, and it has a special coating on the outside of it. They don't use this kind of coating. 'cause
they
it
went with
used
a
to be
regular
more-
sugar coating because it was more cost
Yeah,
effective.
yeah. So when you're when you're a conglomerate and you look at that distribution that you have, and you
Yeah.
take a penny out, it's $1 billion
Yeah.
or something.
Right.
So nobody ever really adopted this technique.
Gotcha.
So this morning when we were talking about the drug exclusion with the FDA and about throwing ingredients into things, and you mentioned cereal, have you considered putting
Putting
functional ingredients
NMN
in
in
here?
cereal.
Yeah, functional ingredients. I mean, maybe we may or may
Oh,
not
man.
be really talking about NMN.
We're gonna need to be putting anandamide into a functional.
I don't
cereal.
know. I mean, I
But-
don't really
well,
want to
the-
make enemies out of that.
No, but the conversation was that NMN can be in a food
to die upon.
still, right? And that was
Oh, right.
to catch
I
you
don't
up.
know. We'll see. I mean, if we end up dying on a hill for the NMN that we're pulling out of the market right now, then maybe it will have already gotten our licks, and we'll be like, okay, well, we already got spanked and warning lettered up and all this stuff, so we might as well just put NMN in a
Here's some
in a
fucking
food.
super cereal.
But that would be cool. I don't know. It would probably be cheap enough where you actually don't even need the customer to recognize it proactively. Like if it just tastes awesome and it's like a market fit and everything, then you're good.
Could it be labeled as vitamin B3?
No, but you can literally just put it in there as a food because I don't evidently we can talk to MPA next week, right? And,
We're setting
and
up
clarify
that call for
that.
vitamin,
And
yeah.
clarify
There's
that.
no FDA regulation on vitamin B3. It's all niacin. So that line. If you
It's
see a
very
label-
blurry.
Well, then
It's
what's the
very
point
blurry.
in putting it in if you have to call it
If you see a
niacin?
label that says vitamin B3,
Because
I don't
then
know if
you're
that's
just
really
like
compliant.
stealthily giving it to them. I kind of like that idea.
A few things. Wow. Yeah. So.
I finished
Perfect
mine.
Day, your beta lactoglobulin, the major protein that is in whey protein.
Yes.
With Perfect Day, they found a way to use
Fungus.
a gene-edited fungus or whatever.
Yes.
So a biologically edited fungus to spew out
Beta-lactoglobulin.
that is
Yes.
identical to a cow's milk
disgusting.
beta-lactoglobulin.
Correct.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to just get a dairy-sourced beta-lactoglobulin from a dairy company?
We just like the cool tech angle to it because if you can get, fungus in a lab to create this thing that, used to be made from cows, I think that's just a cool technological achievement that should be recognized.
Are you cool with the fact that that's it's GMO?
It's absolutely GMO,
100%,
but like
it's
that's
like a-
it's
like
GMO
it's
for the
like
right
not a
reasons,
problem with GMO. The
I'm a
other thing
GMO.
is that like at some point
It's like
soon,
domesticating a
it will
horse where we're
turn-
domesticating microbes.
It will at some point soon. It will turn a corner, and it will
such
be
an interesting analogy.
so much cheaper than like raising cattle, and then like taking the milk products out, and then refining the milk products, and then putting them on transportation. Because like in theory, there could just be a reasonably local facility that produces
It's
this
time to try
material
that.
from yeast
Drink
in,
your
in
cereal.
an environment that's not that hard to set up. Is it still dry on the inside?
It is still dry on the inside.
Yeah.
That's
I've heard
impressive.
crunch.
So that's like a lot of time. I mean, by the time I pour the milk in and go get the spoon, my cereal's already started
Yeah,
to get
your
soggy.
bowl of cereal should have been done by now, so it
Yes.
doesn't even need
So
to last as long.
another piece
That's
to this
impressive.
like opportunistic like thing where we maybe could have a runway of like a year to really keep dialing this in.
Is
I
the
am
milk
un-
less
I'm-
good because there's less flavor coming off of it?
So, well, the flavor will always come off because
in the fluid.
it's in the
Exterior.
the spray dry that goes on it, and there's there's portions of that spray dry that aren't the glycerophosphate.
Okay.
So the flavor that's not like really well bound in is,
Because
it
this-
already came off in
the
his
cereal milk experience is integral to cereal,
so
right? Like
you could dial that up
You
too.
can see it coming
could
off.
have
Okay, I'm
you
just-
could, you could dial that up too. My
just posing
thought
the question.
is that like I like a what I would
This
consider
is
to be
a
semi-
polarizing topic.
I would consider to be a semi-sophisticated cereal connoisseurs.
Okay.
You've
You've sent me a lot of pictures of cereal in your kitchen,
yeah.
so
I think
I'll
that there's a medium
I'll allow
of
it.
soggy cereal and crunchy cereal that is dry at the same time.
Yeah.
So what if you were to have like 50% or 75% of it that is
Crunchers.
that's crunchy and stable, and then the other that is
Yeah.
going to become soggy, and so you end up with this kind of like
Very cool.
sophisticated
Homogeneous
experience.
mix.
I'm shipping this.
I don't know.
myself,
Did we
by the
put
way.
any of the real fruit stuff in any of these?
Not yet.
No. Should we like grab any of that for them?
I mean, we can.
like some dehydrated fruit in it?
Yeah. So that's
cool.
We've kind of talked about that in the past too.
Yeah.
But that's like sort of turning a corner. I also think is really compelling, and it's also a candidate for this sort of hydrophobic treatment because you could.
I mean, that would
Maybe
get
you want.
Yeah.
Maybe
Just
you
less
want
water
that and you
activity,
want to crush it over
even
your oatmeal.
longer shelf
That
life.
is one where I would say I don't like it when it gets
Yeah,
soggy.
you
So,
want
like,
that to stay crispy.
If I'm gonna put like pure fruit that's dehydrated in my oatmeal, it's way better when I leave it on top and then take a bite, and then it like kind of gets
That's
moisturized
cool.
in my mouth. But it may make it more difficult of a snack to have without a drink. I don't know.
What's the percent chance of this actually happening? Glaxon cereal, super cereal.
I mean, we've
it's-
put a lot of work into it.
Yeah,
already.
like,
you want to stop now?
I mean, you have to take into account like if we have the ability to access 50 plus samples like for an event,
Yeah.
then it's probably pretty decent.
Okay, and can you
mean,
manufacture it?
No, we
here?
can't
Okay.
we could send powder inclusion, like if we wanted to make it more functional than protein, we could do that. We could do pre-blended, like some of the spray dry material. We are not going to get into the extrusion game, which is way more complicated than you think. There's only
a lot of trial and
There's
error.
only a certain amount of facilities that can actually pull it off with specific materials.
And a
When
lot
you
of them
add
are located
protein-
at universities too.
Right, and when you add
don't want that
protein
life.
to it, it like absolutely dramatically changes how that process works because
Yeah.
way more air gets
Yeah.
into it.
That's why Halo
This
Top
is
is so
a
low-calorie.
long-term project. Like there's pieces of this like where the perfect day piece of this is like been going on for like since
Years
before we had the last podcast.
Okay. Well, my honest opinion is I would absolutely eat this one, the vegan one. I think you should tell everyone this is vegan. But anyway, for tomorrow. But I will not eat the fungus protein, and I will not eat the bug shit oil that they're pushing around. And that's just
What's the bug shit oil?
It depends. It depends on what's on the menu. If they come out with some cooler shit than beta-lactoglobulin, this is just like it's a proof of concept.
Because it comes from bugs?
No, it's not
so
bugs.
There's two different things going on, but it's all GMO. So the whole anti-seed oil craze has been going on for quite a while. And I've been on that for a while and everything, anti-omega-6. So rather than move back to like butter and beef tallow, like would make sense, some companies have taken advantage of that. And there's one called 0 Acre Farms, where the farm is 0 acres because they're actually fermenting
everything.
They're using whatever. I don't want to state it wrong, but yeah, they're using excretion from some type of microbe or bug or whatever it is to generate a low omega-6 oil. And I think that there are unintended consequences coming from that. And I'm not fully convinced that the 0-day protein is any further. I stick to the cows. That's just me. I'm getting old.
Okay.
I'm not
You mean 0 acre, not 0 day.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I said 0 day, 0 acre. Yeah, so that's different. Now, so that is wait. Perfect day, 0 acres is the what I'm calling the bug oil or whatever. Perfect day is the fungus-based protein that you're.
And you don't want to consume any of these GMOs.
I do not.
No?
No.
Even if they gave you, I don't know, unexpected superpowers.
No, I'm pretty happy with what I am.
That's fair.
Wait.
I like the concept of these things because it opens up, obviously, the cottage industry of, making raw materials from essentially nothing. And then there's the other concept of, that we always fantasize about space. And if you want to manufacture food and stuff off planet, that this would be a viable way in order to make that happen.
I gotcha. I just see that every time that we go down these rabbit holes, humans get sicker and fatter and dumber.
There's a lot of ways where I can agree with you on that.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's guilty until proven innocent, and it's too early for me to claim innocence.
I think biotechnology can be wielded in proper ways in the right steps, and I think that some of the steps that our world has taken recently are out of alignment with the proper path that should be taken when tapping into more technologically advanced things like this.
Right, and so that jades a lot of people like myself, who are like,
yeah, you can't.
I see that cow there. I know what it's eating. It's eating grass.
Right.
I know, but we're talking about like it's pure. Like
is it?
Yeah,
pure?
There's nothing in it.
Beta-lactoglobulin?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no other unfounded proteins or anything like that?
No.
Like
No. But literally, it's physically impossible. Like because of how
it's not like
as an output.
mycelial biomass where they take everything and the growth substrate together. It's not like that. You're
I've
not.
seen,
No,
and
yeah,
I've
it's
seen their
not
patent.
like
I've seen the research where they're proving that it is identical to a cow's beta.
Yeah, you can't.
So
you
I've seen
can't
that.
find the. You can't.
There's no
you
DNA
can't
from that
test
organism.
The difference in a third party unless you were aware of like maybe some kind of trace DNA element.
Or maybe
and
some,
even then,
some glucose polymers or something that are tacked onto certain amino acids that are only specific to the cow. Like if you're really getting that close, where you're looking at the glycoprotein aspect.
If you were to do a treatment to it where you wanted to like blast the regular whey isolate and then this stuff with acid, and then sort of like scoop that out and find out what there is that's like left in there, it's not going to be anything like of note that you wouldn't find in the dairy.
Okay.
However, there is also dairy version of beta-lactoglobulin that's also available now.
Yes. So we've spoken to that company, and that they're going to be able to concentrate that into
I'm
a
more-
very small
Yeah.
dose. It could be like a shot of protein that's like equivalent to 20 grams of protein, or whatever.
In
It's gonna be-
theory.
Well,
Okay.
Because in whey protein,
in an
there's more than
extract
just
kind of way.
BLG.
Yeah, agreed. Every time I agree.
What is your take on seed oils?
I like some. Like obviously, we use a lot of sunflower less than in our products.
Sesame is awesome.
Yeah, anything
Sunflower's good.
It's
Sesame's good.
good with
soy, not so
unsaturated
great.
or phospholipids is okay in my book.
Rapeseed oil, grape.
Yeah.
That stuff's kind of
Do you think canola oil is ruining the world?
I think in a lot of ways it saved our supply chain when the
Yeah.
sunflower crops were failing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like maybe a moderation issue. The hydrogenated oils is not great. But then like when you get like really into the weeds and you find out that like some of this stuff's being put into these things for like stability or like quality control issues, that the issues it prevents are worse.
If you talk to an actual
the
food
side effects
scientist,
of like a large population consuming it regularly, maybe.
The proof is in the pudding. Canola oil came out in 1985. We've gotten massively obese since then. And
do you think the guys who made Coca-Cola invented that drink with a nefarious intent?
I don't care what they did. I'm looking at results and what I should do to protect myself and
I
my
agree,
my
but
family.
but when you look back on like our previous, like in the boomer decades and stuff, you know, post World War II, when the food industry absolutely exploded, they made things to taste real good, and that was their competitive advantage, whether or not it had 55 grams of straight sugar in it, or 10 grams of fat per serving that was all saturated. I think we did things at first to fill market voids and stuff and to get competitive advantages, but just solely based on taste. Nobody cares. If you go to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo that was just going on over here, you can get deep fried anything, deep fried ice cream. And no, is that healthy for you? Of course not. But it just wins on experience and on flavor. And we've lived long enough in that paradigm, because we went from like barely having enough food on the table in the Great Depression, where there was no food on the table. Then we have this huge boom of industrialized agriculture and food, where all of a sudden, instead of starving, we've gotten way too much. I mean, there was no obesity or not as much obesity pre-World War II. It took a lot of effort, and it took a lot of effort, through entertainment, through TV, exercising less, not having to do manual labor. All these things coalesced into these multiple epidemics that we're in right now.
It's not just one thing. It's not.
It's the lifestyle that we chose to live.
Everything. Yeah. There's like 50 things poisoning us. My take is that one of the most perfect foods is beef, and every time we take another step away from beef, we are losing. And this is just yet another step. The fungus protein gets us away from that, even though I'm not even the biggest dairy guy either. So maybe I'm the wrong person to talk about it, but I don't like stepping any further away, because the cows are what fix the earth. I don't the insane discussion that cow farts methane is like contributing to global warming. That's like preposterous. That is the most preposterous, dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Cows heal the planet through their manure.
Yes.
This is how we regenerate the soil. That is the best way. It'll be any chemical fertilizer ever. And then we have these lunatics who are trying to get us away from these animals that are magical animals. You can, and I'm not endorsing this, you could feed this thing a box of Skittles, and the box, and it will somehow magically make you this perfect fuel and food. It's insane.
And it's going to be like Wagyu beef.
And so I'm not
Skittles beef. Skittles beef.
They should be grass-fed, obviously.
I bet it would taste like Skittles when you cooked it.
No, well, they currently do this. The pork is even worse. Like, they just feed those pork pigs like pure garbage. So I try to.
You just found a cottage industry of feeding a pig Skittles their entire life to make pork flavored Skittles.
No, it turns into like just whatever sloppy, loose, high omega-6 pork.
I would like to see this.
It was a TikTok video, so I'm not sure if it's.
We're gonna have a reality TV.
You do go on TikTok.
My point is, I just go back to the earth and back to I look at things evolutionarily.
We're gonna have an investigative reality TV show where me and Mike are like, "Yep, we're here to see the Skittle pig. Take us to him. Take us to him. This is a pig eating Skittles. It is 6 months old. It has consumed 360 pounds of Skittles throughout its entire life. It now weighs 225 pounds, and you can smell the Skittles coming off of it. Look at its skin and its marbled rainbow color."
Dude, that would be
all of those different artificial colors into that pig.
When these organizations like PETA would ever get after that stuff, I don't disagree with them, though. They shouldn't be feeding pigs boxes of Skittles and the wrappers.
I mean, would you say they're on and the wrappers? No, that's torturous.
So anyway, when Ben asked, is canola oil ruining the world? By indirectly. First off, I don't like canola. I think there's an overabundance of beta carotene, all this stuff in there. Canola, like the clean canola that they study, actually low in omega-6. It in theory sounds good until you keep refrying it over and over, which is another problem with your fairgrounds. I'm sure that oil.
Sure,
is
yeah.
Oh
my God, the oxidation levels.
Yeah, right. But by transferring quality land away from regenerative agriculture, away from the cows that can eat it, crap all over it. Then you have the chickens run, eat the bugs, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you have like beautiful land that can make healthy crops where we actually have minerals. And instead now we're strip mining it for this canola crap that's, go watch a video like how canola oil is made. It's disgusting.
Oh, it's prolific. Yeah.
So is canola ruining the world? Well, indirectly my answer is yes, because there's not cows there. I drive along on the highway and I'm like, why are there no cows on this grass? There's just like open land in Texas here.
Probably hay fields selling hay.
Maybe that's true. But yeah, so
For the record, anyone who watches PricePlow knows how you feel about canola.
Okay, I'm a cow maximalist. So I'm not even as much anti-canola. Like clean canola actually doesn't look too bad. But I'm still not gonna touch it if I can. But I'm more like I want more cows. Even, and if that means less canola, then that's
my lifestyle shifted a ton when instead of like stressing about it, right? Like here's a big distinction for me. Like you and I talk about this almost every single day, and I the word is probably you're gonna say I think you're gonna feel a way about the word that I use, but like you stress about it, like I don't know if you have a response to it, but like you are actively worried about it. I just point myself in a more positive direction. I eat as close to the earth as possible, and that's just my goal.
What he's feeling, though, we should feel, though. A lot of people, like in our generation, are just apathetic about everything that's going on in the world, and I feel like we could use a little bit more, a little bit more angst, a little bit more call to
I agree.
arms.
I don't mean to. I'm not stressed because I'm not stressed because I. Yes. All right. You're right. I am more stressed.
Do you know what I'm saying, though?
Yes. And I'm very comfortable with what I do, what I eat. I know my rancher here in Texas and everything, best meat ever. I should look you up. It's amazing. So I'm happy. Here's where the stress comes in is that I have a kid.
I totally understand.
That's where it changes. I have one kid. I have one shot at my genetic lineage continuing on, and that's like basically what my body's programmed to do. I see fertility rates declining. I see all the stuff, both physical and social, being thrust upon these children. I see these kids being actively poisoned. I see the fat kids that they have no chance. Their parents are just lost, and so we have to do all we can to like stay away from the poison. And so are there some foods that we give her that's got canola? Yeah, there's a graham cracker that she has. No big deal. But
I had a realization like 2 weeks ago, like why you and I have such different perspectives sometimes. It was the funniest thing. I went to my niece's birthday party at a jump warehouse, right? And at the middle way through the party, we stop and we have dinner together, right? In like a party room, They bring us in there and there's balloons and shit, and there's all these really colorful plates and napkins out, and they put in front of us pizza and Pepsi, and I was like,
I'd like some water.
Where's the they didn't even have water. Where's the protein?
Cheese on the pizza.
And but I was and there were kids eating candy, and I was like, everyone's eating some sort of energy.
All carbs.
Everyone's eating. Yeah, well, it's fat and carbs, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, no. See, like the way that I diet is I just make sure I have a protein source and then some sort of close to earth carb source. That's basically every single meal of mine. If I'm bulking, I put in extra fatty acids. That's really how I might change that. And it just made me realize, like, I'm around healthy people all the time. I go to the gym. I go to jiu-jitsu. I go on these trips.
These are normal people.
To me, this is normal.
Yeah.
Right? To me, everyone I know is healthy and active. And like, I think that changes my perspective on everything.
And so, the one protein source you named there is the cheese on the pizza. When you start taking dairy away from these kids, holy shit, they're not getting any saturated fats. Like it's bad.
Dude, you're lucky if you get like 20 grams of protein from a serving of pizza. Like,
well, for a kid though, a kid can put down enough pizza, and they will. That's like
there's probably
that's
a lot more protein in pizza than you realize.
And that was the protein
gluten.
hypothesis. I've written about it a couple of times. But basically, your body's going to eat as much food as it takes to get enough protein.
Yeah,
so if that means
100% agree.
80 pieces of pizza or whatever it is,
100% agree.
versus one
protein
steak.
leveraging.
Protein leverage hypothesis.
Now that Michael's back, though, we probably should get back on track to Glaxon.
Yeah. So anyway, that is my concern. So I'm not going like crazy nuclear, but I do need to be aware. Like, okay, here's what's happening. We need to push in this direction, and so that's what I do. But
I just try to inspire people to feed themselves.
Tell your daughter not to hang out with those stupid NPCs, man.
Well,
those bots.
That's a big part of it. The question is, and we could change the subject after this. Okay, so you get her away from the NPCs. How much further do you go into, like, religion or Christianity or?
I think you stay on the fringe of the NPCs. is what you
That's-
do.
okay,
You
then
know,
this is a-
you can go off the grid as much as you want to, but you got to stay on that fringe, you know, in case you got to go buy fucking toilet paper or something.
And you don't want your kid to not know
I
the
really do agree with the NPC talk though. Like I don't socialize with people that I don't think are like active and interesting. Like they don't do something with them. Like
You got to be
Football.
careful.
when I meet people who are like, oh yeah, like their weekend, like oh I'm just gonna sit at home and watch football. I'm like, you don't
Yeah.
have a thing.
Football.
Like, I don't know.
They worship other gods. But yeah, so, but at the same time, you're right. You have to be somewhat NPC. You don't want your daughter to be the one kid at that birthday party who doesn't know "Let It Go" and that Frozen song. You know.
True.
Michael, you have kids. I'm sorry, I don't know if you talk too much about this on content, so I don't know how comfortable you are
No,
with it.
go for it.
But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
ha-
I mean,
ha-
I have a private account, like for
You do?
but like I'll
Yeah.
definitely talk about my kids.
how I'm sorry, you missed this whole like canola oils discussion. You're basically coming
I
back
think
a
I've
little
got
bit.
the gist of it.
But
like
as like a healthy person, as someone who like takes supplements and like I would describe you as a biohacker,
Yeah.
right? Like or you care about that stuff. How with your kids growing up, like how do you deal with that? I mean, like they're around sugar and candy and constantly, right? Like that's,
yeah, I think that's like a complicated thing to unpack because I think what Mike was sort of talking about is that there's like a level of harm associated with like maybe all these things that they're going to put in their body, and then there's like a level of harm that comes from like a stigma or forcing them to live in some kind of outliers lifestyle. My kids get like probably like a luxurious kind of access to vitamins and things like that.
Oh yeah, it's kind
But we don't put like a ton of time into moderating like the like nuance of the other ingredients in the processed foods.
So you
that
just
they
feed them
eat.
Zerion and hope for the best.
I mean,
kinda.
It's kind of good. I mean,
I
honestly,
don't
probably
give them,
not that bad.
I don't give them like longevity stuff. It's occurred to me but then again, like I don't know. It might be pouring water into a cup that's already full when it comes to like an.
I bet you're
NMN
not
or
going to give
NAD.
CDP choline to your next kid.
Well, I would probably give choline to my kids still.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, their microbiome is better suited. It's like a
True.
performance enhanced
Yeah.
athlete that like actually doesn't have as much of a TMAO issue. But
But they're also growing a lot of neurons and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
It
So
depends
they probably use like way more of that stuff.
If they like eggs.
They do like eggs. They like egg yolks. We also naturally curate an environment at home where the snacks are of a higher quality, right? So
Yeah.
my kids will eat like functional snacks, even
Yeah.
like
And they have cool
collagen
supplements.
fortified snacks, protein fortified snacks,
Did you do the smart sweets?
smart sweets like sugars and stuff like that.
We got those in Texas.
I'm also like a candy connoisseur.
Yeah, you
and
do a
I
lot of
like
this stuff.
junk food and all that kind of stuff. So we do have a lot of that available, like for weekends.
Yeah.
But I think they're so used to it that they're desensitized to that like dopamine thrill of like I need a cookie and ice cream sandwich and like this kind of stuff daily. Whereas like they'll have friends that come over that obviously it's just like really limited and they like freak out like that there's like candy in our pantry. And like obsessively like ask to get access to it, whatever. And
So they can eat
my
the
kids
whole
don't
bag.
think much of it because it's never been like hidden from
Yeah.
them. But yeah, I think I'm definitely conscious of that. It's just a lot. Like it's an overwhelming amount to like zero in on all these things that may have like health implications. And I think as like a busy business person and parent, you're like, at least I'm looking at it from kind of like, okay, all these major things are okay. Like, we're gonna.
So you own what you can. You don't worry about
we're
the
doing a
rest.
good job with it. But yeah, it's probably extraordinary that they eat like functional snacks.
Yeah.
Like they like Anabars. Like the Anabar guys are close by. They drop
Your kids
off-
are outliers in their own right. They just don't, they don't wear it on their shoulder.
Sure.
That's how I feel about it when because like every here and there I'll have a fast food burger.
Yeah.
Like gotta happen every here and there. Not the worst thing. I'm active. I own other parts of my life. I take a GDA most around the year. Like I take care of my gut. If I'm not out.
We're
eating.
doing a lot more than most of the NPCs.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
And I also don't do like the downright disgusting stuff like Taco Bell.
Right.
I'll indulge in some.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to
Terrible
get that. We
things.
need to get the freeze dried fruit thing because that's literally like candy.
There's a box over there.
There is a box over here, or over there.
It's in the lab.
So in general, yeah. So at that birthday party, yeah, go ahead, eat the junk. She knows it's not going to be all the time and everything. I feel bad for the kids where that is like
Their
sole
only
protein
choices.
source. Yeah, it's just it is. And you see them at Costco, and you're like, oh boy, I'm the person with meat in my cart. Like we know where this is going.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Out of the box.
so
So I said there was like 3 big things in that box.
there's a koozie.
We talked about the cereal, then we talked about the RTD, and he's got his RTD in that koozie. But you also got a beer glass.
So are you doing a beer thing? Are you doing a hangover?
Well, we're going
with
to
We're going to a brewery.
brewery tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it was leaked that there was going to be a partnership tomorrow, some sort of collaboration.
Yeah.
With us in this brewery.
You're doing a collab with a brewery?
Oh yeah.
A beer flavor?
It has to be named after a song. That was the deal. The beer has to be named after a song.
St. Arnold Brewery is big in Houston, but it's not.
No, this is a local, like small. It's the brewery we're going
Small,
to.
newer craft brewery. I have a relationship with them. I was sort of involved in the concept and opening it. So I have a good relationship with the brewmaster who's like from Germany.
His name is Heinrich.
Is this a short-term collaboration, or is this something that might live for a while?
It's maybe like
It's so
open-ended,
stupid it might
right?
work.
Like we'll see how it goes.
Right.
I think there may be some reps there tomorrow from retail chains that would buy a bottled beer.
What's the
hops.
functionality of the beer?
Is there hops involved?
Yes.
Yes.
Hops is a
Yeah,
sleep,
yeah,
It's
it's
a beer sleep aid with
No.
hops.
Oh
No.
no.
Are we supposed to be guessing
It's a
here?
Fenibut beer.
That would
Oh,
be-
by all means, go ahead and guess.
yeah. So it's a functional beer.
Okay, so is it a drink? It's a functional beer
Yeah.
with NaC added
No.
Yeah.
to prevent hangover.
No.
Is
Is
there a
the
vitamin
gold?
added?
Is the
You
gold?
got to think of some real low-hanging
Is-
fruit, and you're going to be like,
Low-hanging
this is so stupid.
Was that close to the hops
That
thing?
yeah, you're on
Is,
the right
is it
path
sleep
there.
related?
No.
Caffeine?
It's like
Caffeine
wait.
beer?
Is
No.
the claim? Is the claim?
Anandamide. Like
No.
Cannabinoids. Is there cannabinoid related?
No.
All right, Ben, you're
Are there ketones in it?
No.
What is the goal to improve the experience?
No.
The functionality is not in the experience.
The functionalities and the functionality of the ingredients, really.
So you're just adding extra functionality.
We're giving
to
a
beer.
function to a specific genre of beer
Nootropic?
that is on genre for that.
Is this sour beer?
No.
Oh, thank God.
I wish we had the samples right now.
Pre-workout beer.
So when everyone gets their
You didn't
boxes,
say no.
we will have cups, and we've got a couple kegs that are going to be there on tap tomorrow. So
Yeah, it'll be on tap, pour, like whatever. You can
We
probably
have a
get a
case here today.
growler. You can
I
probably
know,
get a
right?
takeaway, like can made if you want.
Don't say greens.
no.
No. No.
Mike's like,
I mean,
I will
you
go
gotta
home.
Think about this from like
right.
if you were gonna actually try to land a
Explain the
a
customer.
concept to a potential
Layman.
demographic that
it's a low
buys.
calorie.
Well, okay,
Yes.
so that's a big thing, right? Like Michelob Ultra basically
Yeah.
pioneered this brewmaster.
Now reel it in. Reel
This
it in.
brewmaster actually was involved in the creation of that,
Syria?
which is a whole other thing. But
Reel it in.
if people are looking for, if people are favoring the low carb, low calorie beer, then
Metabolic health beer.
Right,
There you
there you
go.
go.
Okay.
So it's a
Well, I really do worry about
Fat-
my figure when I drink.
fat loss.
Well, or
So
if you're like a recreational drinker and
Beba
you're,
beer.
or we didn't go that far.
that would be
We
Really
went mostly
expensive.
botanical things. Or also if you're like a recreational athlete, if you're like in beer league, kickball or softball or whatever, and you want to have something that could potentially do some functional benefit while you're, being active and boozing, that's what this is for. This is for the recreational summertime drinker, who wants to have fun in the sun, low carb, get a little bit buzzed, and maybe get a little fringe thermogenic fat burning benefits.
Joey, before you said that,
Is there going to be spice in here?
Yes.
It's a spicy beer.
Not. I mean, it's not super spicy. You will. It is the last flavor effect that you get as you drink it because there's layers to this.
It's actually. I mean,
wait,
if
so the
you
genre of the
like
beer, is it an
craft beer,
IPA?
try the other
It's-
beers
it's a
tomorrow
Kolsch.
because they're all like top shelf.
Did you
like
help
this
flavor
guy's.
this, or did
Yeah,
they
we
do the
were
flavoring?
involved in it.
Yeah.
I took Joey over to the brewery
So you'll see the video that Brandon's working
a
on.
couple times.
Is like how it's made.
Yeah, we are I mean, I'm intimately like familiar with the process and all the equipment because like when we were purchasing it and getting this place set up, and then introduced Joey to Heinrich, which is kind of like Joey meeting a Joey of the
that world.
Of the
of
beer
that
world.
world.
Awesome.
You know, and they're like geeking out over all this stuff, and there's like way more advanced things
Beer's
that we
pretty
can
cool.
do, but we
had
kind of
to-
resigned to like, all right, like let's not do too much Glaxon. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what's the most crazy, like
Yeah.
way ahead of its time way we can approach this, and then just
Okay.
deconstruct it. So this is a low calorie lager, is what you could call it. Technically, it's a Kolsch. It has, a couple functional ingredients in there that are more obvious ingredients to people. So low hanging stuff, but they
we talk
also
about the
are
different
quality
ingredients
things. Yeah.
Well, I'm calculating the calories based on what
120.
Well, it's 120 for a 32.
Oh, for 32
wow,
ounces.
really?
Yeah. So it's an ultralight.
it's like
it's an
big.
ultralight.
Okay,
Calories.
so
So
let
is
me-
it like calorie burn, like Grains of Paradise?
Hold on.
Or-
Something like that, isn't it?
It's 45 for 12 ounces.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
It's like a Michelob.
That's very light.
Yeah.
So, at what point we have to talk about first of all the ingredients in it, but I want to know at what point were your contributions, like, were you guys involved in the fermentation process?
There's
No.
a couple of. So
where
we,
did the
We
ingredients get added?
walked so Joey and I went over there. Sam came with
we have
us.
a video that tells you all about this.
Yeah, I think Sam shared it, and maybe you shared some of the brewery stuff when we were there on your social
No,
media.
I don't share anything. 'Cause
Anyway,
this
so-
is top secret.
Heinrich walked us through the process, different pieces of the fermentation process where you could potentially add ingredients. There's like issues if you were to add it too early in the brewing stage that you could create something new or a super concentrated version of something. So we kind of roadmapped where we would want to introduce ingredients to it. That's kind of where we back out and we're like, hey, we're going to send you different things from the facility. We'll give you information on it. We'll give you the recommended dosage for serving. We went on the lower side with a lot of this stuff because you don't want someone to drink 7 of them and then have like a stomach ulcer or something. I don't know that actually would be the issue. Maybe they'd just like be burping up.
It might be TMAO, honestly.
Might have diarrhea.
There's no choline in it, or betaine. But yeah, Joey can kind of run through the ingredients.
So there's green tea. Very simple. I mean, if we're talking about thermogenics, fat burning kind of stuff, green tea is on that list, and it's something that customers will clearly recognize.
Right.
Second thing is bitter orange. And so
Ooh.
it gives a citrus kind of note to it, which is really nice.
Wait, so there's going to be a stimulant in this beer?
It's just straight bitter orange, no standardization or anything. So
But between us, the standardization is what? Probably like 30% max.
I mean, we may have used the 30%.
Well, that would be the only one we have.
You
That
get
would be
full
the only one
dose
we
at
have.
like just under 3 beers.
Okay, yeah.
So
Full dose
So-
being
This
how
is a
many?
pre-workout
how
beer. You asked.
it can be.
I mean,
That's
it's,
why I said, like, if you play like drunk beer league softball or something, it's not a bad idea.
yeah. I mean, it's not like super pure synephrine,
No.
hydrochloride.
Don't have
type of thing.
stimulant expectations.
No, we got the idea.
But it's really for that citrusy note. So we wanted that in there. The green tea gives like a botanically kind of thing with a little bit of astringency, but then there's Sant Energy, so it has a little floral with citrus that's in there, which is kind of nice. And then there's Axivite, the phenylcapsaicin. So as you swallow on the very back end as it goes down, it's nice and warm.
The
So
phenol group isn't like super help. I mean, it does a
No.
little bit, but
It
you're not
doesn't
getting
break
all
down.
the spice.
no.
No, the alcohol, like the hops, like sort of like mingles really well with,
there's
with some of the herbal and like floral notes of these
Yeah.
materials. The alcohol actually really buffers the pepper like burning experience that you would get. Whereas like I think if you just took it and mixed it in water, like it would be really unpleasant. If you were to serve this to someone and they didn't know it was a functional beer, they'd probably just think it was like an interesting light craft beer.
And it just
How-
tastes really good.
Yeah.
So, at what point in the brewing process did you add these ingredients?
So it's usually during the conditioning phase when it sets. So, it's after fermentation, and then as it's like cooling, we'll put the functional stuff in there.
Yeah.
So they're all in there as powders, not fermented, but they're going to be in there. They're full doses,
Okay, so you
like
got a
just
couple-
under 3.
Cool. So you got a couple kegs or whatever. And so is this going to be a local Houston thing? Is some retailers going to pick this up and put it in their refrigerators?
I mean, I suppose if they
We're gonna see.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Well, they have to taste it tomorrow and find out.
Yeah,
Okay,
Sure.
and then
yeah.
they
I
could
mean,
say-
if you think it's really good, then maybe the likelihood's higher. But I think it's like a really interesting opportunity to sort of understand the feedback loops of that with a crowd that's very familiar with supplements, and then also with a general crowd ongoing. And if it's like well received, then we could do a different version of it. We could do a combination of it. We could run it through the canning line, and put it in grocery.
It's a double-edged sword.
So this is a.
So that's going to go up tomorrow.
No, Blair just sent it to me.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's going to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I was messing with her while we were doing this to get her to
And no one's
do
gonna
that.
fucking believe you.
And she put and so it's gonna go up on April Fool's in the morning. And like I swear, I was telling Joey this yesterday. I was like, it's the typical like we made a beer like that like some giant supplement company puts up on April Fool's. I've seen it before, and it will look that way. And then at noon, there's gonna be people literally sharing.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Like, this April Fool's thing, like there's been a stagnancy in April Fool's for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, we had Fool's Gold last year with the prop blended like that's like
Everyone was asking if
us
you were gonna bring that
beg
back.
us to bring it back, which is the
Yeah.
irony.
Our
is
Discord
like
really wanted that. There was a point in our Discord where
showers.
people were taking it, and I was like, "Why? It's not. You're not actually supposed to take it." Like, and there people were
And they
fucking
loved
enjoying
it.
it.
What? Oh, Fool's Gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we designed it to be like
I want
consumable.
Mike to try some of the Fool's Gold.
We
Like,
designed it to be
in the
consumable.
lab.
It is like
Cody's
prop,
gotta take some tomorrow morning.
it's
for
a
his
prop
workout.
blended like
Alpha.
kind of like just really
Our first
hardcore.
prop blend starts with maltodextrin.
Yeah. Like we went,
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, if you
classy.
didn't get to experience this, like every piece of it, like the more you looked at it, you'd be like, these guys are literally just middle fingering like everywhere.
How much
that,
niacin was in it?
Oh, we had like something like 250 in there.
Yeah, it was like
that'll get you
250 with the 2 scoops.
Have you guys ever seen the
but we
pictures
literally,
of Mike niacin
we
flushed?
literally
Yes.
like on that product, we literally like did the like just bullshit things that people do. Like it's all prop blended. We put like cheeky things first in the prop blends.
Yeah.
We
And people still
we
take
took
it.
advantage of the like of our threshold
It was labeled
on
correctly.
the scoop. So the scoop is like wastefully big. So you're getting more, like you're probably getting 600, closer to 600 milligrams of caffeine per like serving instead of the well, I don't think we even called out the caffeine.
It was meant to be a joke.
Right.
And
So anyway,
you sold it,
but
it's
like
They didn't
that's
sell
what a
it.
company would
They
do.
didn't
They
sell
would
it.
put
That
it.
was the thing. They didn't sell it.
We gave it away. Yeah, we gave it away, and it's got like a huge warning on it. I mean, it's not going to kill you.
It found
like
its way for
stim
sale
heads
online.
love it.
Yeah, that was the thing. A couple people did end up spending money on it.
It ended up in our system. Maybe it was eBay, but
Well, I mean, people could resell it. Even still, like
Yeah,
there's pre-workouts.
there
in
were
the
some
market
tubs that got
are-
into wholesale because they wanted to be in.
There's
on it.
pre-workouts in the market that are way more aggressive than that.
Sure.
Which is
They just don't
kinda
lead
the
their
joke,
first blend
but,
with maltodextrin.
It's like literally everything that a company who wanted to just throw a bunch of caffeine and like cheap feel ingredients into a product, prop blend it, and then have a generous scoop to like win you over. That's what it is. And the irony is that like there's a decent amount of people that want like beg us for it. They beg our partners like PricePlow to ask us to remake it. Like like
So
it's like again back to that conversation we had last night. Like if you want to make money in this industry, it's not actually that hard. Like
so that was last year's April Fool's.
Yeah.
This year, you're going to be introducing Glaxon's first craft beer.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be like, oh, dude, and then it's going to be.
It's gonna be real.
Can I post on a
love it.
story drinking from a glass tomorrow? Like,
Oh, of course.
wait, during the event?
well, what time does the event start?
Noon.
Noon. And what time is that post going up?
What's the
No,
alcohol?
you can put it up earlier than that.
Put it up and I'll put.
Put it up
11:30.
like when we do the
Put it up at
the gym
11:30, so
What's-
everyone who's like on their way there will see it and be like, "What the fuck?"
And then they'll show up and they'll be like, "Where is
what's
it?"
your social strategy with the story tomorrow? Because if you want to leave it radio silent for a little bit, I could post a video just drinking from a glass and then not post a story for a bit and let everyone freak out over it.
Whatever works for you. We have a sale also going up at 12, so.
I like the 11 a.m. idea myself, but
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
we'll
it
get
needs to
11:30.
happen before.
Make it
I
too
just
late for
want
them to
I want
react.
the initial reaction to just for people to just be like, it's like a joke.
Yeah.
Right? And then
so you do that at 11.
and then when it actually happens, it'll be that much more intense because
Yeah.
people will be like, holy shit, like it's not.
what's the alcohol content? It's
5%.
Yeah.
5% at 45 calories?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, that's not including the alcohol calories, right?
Okay. Now,
Alcohol is what,
do you-
7 calories a gram?
Yeah, alcohol.
Probably
is a
no, it is including the
carbohydrate.
alcohol calories because they gave us 120 based on 32, and that was Heinrich's numbers. So he would have included the alcohol.
Yeah.
But you don't include alcohol calories.
Or then maybe
I
it
don't
wouldn't-
think you
maybe,
do.
then maybe
You
it wouldn't
don't.
be
I don't know.
included then.
Yeah, it's 7
Ethanol
calories
is not
per
a carb.
gram.
It's not a. Oh, it's closer to being a fat than anything, but it's not. It doesn't have a
You're not
carboxyl group.
Yeah, on a technical basis, it doesn't actually have calories, but
Yeah.
but technically,
And a bomb calorimeter it will.
yeah,
Right.
7 calories per gram.
Well, still will paint, but yeah. So
But yeah, anyway,
so here's the question.
that's going to be fun to throw that
So
out.
does the average Glaxon consumer at Milwaukee's GNC store, do they drink?
I would
mean,
think that most people
obviously.
that consume.
Oh, in
I
Milwaukee
think
they
most
do.
people with a
That's
pulse
a
that are
bad
over
example.
21 probably drink from time to time.
All right.
They would at least be interested in the novelty of a functional beer.
I think
mean,
that
I don't know the
focusing on
statistics. The
selling
general
beer to a
statistics are
supplement
like
user-
that. Like every person, and like I mean, what is it? Like the outliers are people who don't.
I think
consume
that
beer, right?
focusing on selling a beer to supplement users is looking at it the wrong way.
Right. That's why I was going to hit
Right.
both angles. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we went with green tea and like really easy to digest
Yeah.
stuff.
You may
And
not
that doesn't
have
mean
my
that
beer
it's-
and
that
burn
doesn't
fat.
mean that it's not effective.
God
but like if
dang.
we were gonna go straight for like our existing customer base and be like, all right, we're gonna make you this crazy beer, it'd probably have like some like Baiba in it, or
Yeah.
something crazy.
If you're focusing on selling to like
But like
John
to bring it
Heyman.
back to earth,
Yeah.
like okay,
You
let's
put
make it
Baiba in
even
it.
like let's make it even more crazy and actually make a beer that maybe is compelling to people who
Yeah.
are in the market for a good, low calorie, tasty craft beer.
Now, what
Yeah.
if this thing takes off? Is this brewer able to do it, or would you have to
Oh
go to
yeah,
a
they
different-
can definitely do it. I mean, they
Like
have
scale it
they
up?
have a bottling line. We're
okay.
going to expand that bottling line. There's
scaling beer companies is
way less complicated than
but there's also other complications in the process that
So the
you
licenses
can't
all
scale
exist.
as quickly. Like
Well,
you can't ship beer. You have to.
No, we can't. And that was
like
like something I forget.
you
who
have
I
to deliver
told that
yourself
to
with your own trucks.
a while back, but I was like,
So you really
I
only
would
can
have
scale
to,
it as well as your like infrastructure will allow.
yeah.
Okay.
Like we could send you some, but we're not supposed to, and you definitely can't sell it across state lines and all
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But like, I mean, if like you were to get
You need a distributor.
Yeah,
a
right.
can that had no label on it that like came from us as like
Yeah.
a promo or something, that would probably be okay. But the licenses exist. We can do the take-home growlers. Like people can come in and buy them, and it's like
we won't be
sealed
doing
in the can.
unboxing stories.
And then we can sell cans into statewide distribution of it. So like if HEB or whatever wanted to put it in their craft brew section,
There's
like,
a
that
lot
would
of
be fine.
distribution in Texas for that. There's
100%.
definitely a huge
Yeah, it's like
possibility
the
out here.
biggest outside of
All right.
wherever in the East Coast for
So you're-
alcohol distribution.
So you're more going after the regular beer drinking crowd, providing them a functional beverage, like the more
A
fit,
better for you
Yeah.
beer.
a better for you beer. Okay.
Josh
so are
Shaw
you
just
sure you
loved
want to
that.
have
know.
Axovite and they're giving it
When you
on the
try
back
it, you're
end?
going to be like, this actually makes it better.
Yeah.
That's the
Does
thing.
it make
'cause
you want
we-
to drink more because you
we-
got to cover it up?
No,
you're not covering
even
anything.
that kind
up.
of sensation.
You actually
It's
enjoy
like,
yourself.
It like blends into the experience of that flavor, where it's not like it's hard to explain it, but like even when you just smell it, you'll notice. And we tried like probably
7?
20 different
Well, yeah,
versions of
per
the
round.
betas, but like.
That's fascinating to me because the fermentation to make beer takes like a long time. So to create beta samples,
I mean, so there's like, and we can take you guys. I'll take you through a tour of like the back where the brewing happens and all that stuff. There's a secondary line that's like sort of an R&D one, and it's smaller. It's smaller batch. It's easier
how
to set
quickly
up.
can you do a turnaround
A
on
week.
that? Really?
Because
Yeah, that's
the
kinda
beer's
right.
already fermented. They're adding it after the fact.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
all
so
got
he
the-
can make a
the same-
large batch.
I'm sorry. I thought you were making.
Yeah, post fermentation is when conditioning happens.
I thought
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
doing a whole new run of beer.
Well, no. So I mean, like if he didn't have this particular
That's what I'm talking about.
Kolsch that we're using, then he would have. It would
That's what
take
I'm
a
talking
while
about.
to do more, but he made like
Cool.
whatever amount of it, and then we kind of create
Now,
this thing.
is this Kolsch like his specialty, or do you like Kolsch? Like, how did you
It's-
decide that?
I mean,
We
his
used his
specialty-
judgment.
His range
I
is
sent
like
him a chart of like the different kind of like flavor notes that these different raw materials were going to give off just from their straight powder sense, and he's like, okay, like trying to think of what beer would this fit most appropriately in, and we told them we want a low calorie and all that other stuff. It's like aiming from like a Michelob Ultra kind of a macro profile, and how these flavors would kind of blend in.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, he's a beer genius.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Like,
been
wait
his
until you meet him.
brewmaster's been doing this for like
meet him.
30 years. Like every kind of beer is his expertise.
So
you know,
what if this just blows up out of the stratosphere?
It could.
Takes over the world. You're
you know, I don't. I
Busch
don't.
knocking your door
That's
down.
why I said it's so stupid it might work.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know, it'd be
I-
the irony of it is it's like we're like, oh yeah, like this. We literally did it this way
Is it okay to ask you how much each bottle costs?
to make.
Yeah.
We don't know yet, do we?
Yeah, we do. The raw materials additions are an insignificant
Minimal.
cost.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You know,
'Cause that's
the
my
biggest
question,
costs really are the infrastructure and the transportation and packaging.
But that's
I mean,
that's competitive against other companies. I was
sure.
talking
Oh
about
yeah,
how
yeah.
it's
It
like-
would be priced at the
Yeah.
exact same as all the other
Yeah.
craft beer. You know, like potentially less. There's some more like complex and exotic craft beers that use like really obscure hops and
Okay.
other things in there. You know, but yeah, I mean, this isn't like that's not like a. It's really just not a significant cost. So it's not going to be a concern.
So, my question wasn't answered. If it goes to the stratosphere, is this a partnership with the brewer? Is this Glaxon owned? It's Glaxon branded, right?
I mean, how do you think you're going to do this, Michael? This is your question.
I mean, I own part of the brewery, so like.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we would just figure a
didn't know
way
you were
out
into
that
that.
would benefit everyone. But like, yeah, that's part of the way. Like, I like put. You know what the irony is not irony, but like it's funny that the brewery was a project before Glaxon existed, and Glaxon just sort of leapfrogged it. You know, but. I think that it wouldn't be that complicated to figure out a strategy.
No,
you know,
yeah, I
I mean,
didn't realize
Glaxon's I think our perspective on this was like, okay, if we're gonna do a collab with a brewery, we'll provide like not our particular flavor and incentive on all the SKUs we do in house. We'll provide like what we actually can give them that's the most useful thing that they can do. And
what
yeah,
they
I mean,
can sell out of their brewery that makes
so
sense.
like if they find out that like that people are coming back for it like on when they're open and it's like going, you know, the pours getting tapped, like then, you know, maybe we run it back, maybe we like revisit the conversations with the
Okay, I'm not asking from the business sense. I'm actually asking. Let me rephrase the question. Let's say I'm a Glaxon consumer who doesn't give a flying fuck about beer.
Sure.
And I want your supplements to continue being awesome, and I don't want to lose you to the beer industry because you've become $1 billion Anheuser-Busch beast over here with this great idea.
Yeah.
Which it is.
Uh-huh.
Can you give us assurance that Glaxon will continue to Glaxonify supplements even if this blows
Yeah,
up?
I don't think like we're trying
Why aren't
to
you
become,
just as afraid about the cereal?
Yeah.
Because I know that you're right. I know the power of the alcohol.
Maybe it's closer to
industry.
home. Maybe
Yeah.
the cereal's closer
But
to
the
home.
cereal actually has.
Yeah.
I mean, but how
that's
many
good-
people
that's a
at
good question.
Glaxon HQ are spending their whole day on the beer?
They're not.
Yeah, like, even if it
so
went to the
like it's the other
stratosphere-
thing, yeah, it's like the infrastructure that like is putting this show on is like, you know, 90% not happening here. Like
Yeah.
we're
Gotcha.
contributing with you know, that's why it's at the brewery. Like we're doing, you know,
They're
it's
like our
a-
contract manufacturer in this
you
kind
know,
of a case.
Cool. Okay.
You know, like it yeah, it'd be like if instead of Ghost putting Sour Patch flavor in their stuff, like Sour Patch put Ghost in their, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's how I was looking at
So
it.
it's kind of like that. You know, if it's scaled, like I don't even know that it would be Glaxon branded. Like maybe we would get like some kind of piece of it, and we'd be available to like help, you know, ongoing. But I
Yeah, who
don't
knows how
think
well
you'll
this
see.
would
I don't.
sell.
We're not like our concept was
in
never to be
beer,
like,
right.
hey, let's have a Glaxon beer. The RTD, different story.
Right.
Yeah.
Other
RTD being-
spin-off concepts that aren't beer, different, like, yeah, we would probably want it. We'd be ambitious to do that. I think that like the alcoholic beverage category is kind of shifting and proliferating, like you've seen in the energy drink stuff. Like there's all these like fringe kind of mocktail, you know, seltzer, like whatever, getting more candy-ish, getting closer to an energy drink kind
Yeah.
of concept.
But not beer.
But not beer.
Even though beer could use a little bit of work with flavor profiles.
Yeah, but I think beer like went through its like mass market. In my opinion, I think beer went through its mass market renaissance when Michelob Ultra became a thing, and you had this like low calorie, really light beer that was accessible to people who didn't have that like kind of acquired taste for it. And then there was a craft beer movement, which is still a really small market, but I don't think it's growing at the same pace it was 10 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, I've been trying to pull together like an R&D, like brand guide, like just an R&D set of logos that we can do on stuff.
Are we recording?
Yeah, this has been recording for 3 minutes.
Cool.
I guess.
All right, we'll get one more. Just to make sure. We're gonna hit live right here, so no one say anything bad.
All right, gentlemen. So everyone listening, we're going live on Instagram right now. Let's talk about the fire session about what we have new coming from you. New labels, got a new flavor,
these
looks like here. So.
Yeah, these are like revisions of like previous products that we've got going on. Obviously, we've had super greens before. I mean, do I talk to these people? Do I talk to them?
No, I think we should ignore that.
Let's
There's
ignore it.
Just go.
New Super
Okay.
Greens coming on
New
Earth Day.
Oh, and it's the dinosaur fruit.
Dinosaur fruit.
This is something that we've had before, and it's actually kind of sexy looking. If you want to show them.
This one.
Tell us about Dino.
It's a lot like the Pink Lady concept, where it's a just
It's
awesome,
a cultivar.
awesome fruit flavor that we are a huge fan of. It is like, I don't know if you've ever had a Pluot. I think we've had a conversation about that when we did it in the previous
It's a
Super
hybrid.
Greens.
It's a hybrid between an apricot and a plum.
We got
They're
one of these
literally
at the
like
store.
the best. Like, yeah, they're so
Pluot.
fucking good. The California ones that like I think late summer that you can get them, but
We got
yeah,
jam
it's
of it
amazing.
at that store.
Oh
Remember?
yeah,
We
that
ate
shit
jam?
too is so good.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's an awesome
Called dinosaur fruit, dinosaur eggs.
Now with Pink Lady, you actually used apple extract.
Yeah, so
to
that
boost the flavor.
formula is
Do we
different.
Have Pluot extract in
No,
here?
we don't.
I wish.
I
don't think anyone makes it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be weird.
They probably
no,
make more
I know
money
we
just
can
selling
find. I know we
those.
can find dried plum powder, but like that,
It's not the same.
not the same.
Not the same.
So this
It's
is the same
such an
formula, no?
exotic fruit that there's just not going to be like a powder of it. You know what I mean? Because it's a hybrid it's not grown year round.
Yeah,
and,
they
When
just
is
sell
this
it in
launching?
stores.
on Earth Day, so
What's
the 20th.
The 20th
420.
of April.
22nd.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, April
420 is
22nd.
different.
I think we should
holiday.
move Earth Day to 420. Just
Oops.
'Cause
I
it
always
makes
thought that
sense.
Earth Day and 420 were the same for some reason.
The real Earth Day.
so did I.
the real Earth Day.
Really, 422?
I think so. Yeah.
Are you sure you're not talking about Arbor Day?
All right, what's the difference between
It's
Earth Day and
all
Arbor Day?
very close together.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
it's
let's.
the 22nd.
Okay.
There we go.
Look up when Arbor Day
Blair is
is.
Jamie today.
Thanks,
We're
Jamie.
launching
Pull
it
that
on
up, Jamie.
Saturday.
Ask Aaron.
Why would they? I mean, people are going to go out and plant trees and stuff if it's on a Saturday. Oh my God!
Okay. So, Super Greens.
In dinosaur fruit.
And I heard
Talk-
this is an omni-channel leader.
What? Oh, it was super greens? Yeah, because everybody likes drinking greens. Like, there's no seasonality to it. You know, it's like a multivitamin. People just take it year round, and if it tastes delicious, yeah, of course it's going to do well.
What does omnichannel mean to you guys?
I mean, it sells well in all
channels.
places,
All of them, everywhere, all the time.
everywhere.
Need to
Everywhere,
call Joshua
all the
Shaw
time,
and
all at
ask him.
once.
Maybe Josh.
movie.
If Josh Shaw comes,
Shout out
the
to
event
Josh
tomorrow,
Shaw.
we'll
Josh,
get
Is
him.
Josh
we
watching?
need to know what omnichannel means.
Apparently, April 28th is Arbor Day.
What is it?
The
Oh,
commenters
you're right,
are
yes.
adding in.
There's so much love for the
we
plants in April.
We don't need a Jamie over here when we can just crowdsource it.
They're just
They're gonna be-
crowdsourcing the
Thank you,
information.
They're going to be great until AI takes over, which.
Anyway, so-
I'd put the PricePlow community over AI any day.
Yes.
The PricePlow community would use AI too.
PP, GPT.
Okay, so back to it.
Okay, yeah.
Because we're gonna run out of batteries and whatever. But yeah, dinosaur fruit. It's a amazing, delicious, exotic apricot plum hybrid.
Looks like a dinosaur
It will
egg.
be available in late April. It's called dinosaur fruit because the pluots actually look like little dinosaur eggs, land before time kind of thing. Label's pretty cool. Same great formula.
It's a little flavor description in the top left.
And if you tried the previous version of it, you're going to like this one. There's really no material changes other than the upgraded Super Greens formula.
And label.
Label.
Is this everywhere? This call out to the flavor?
It's
Yes.
something we're going to start doing more.
Yeah.
I didn't
This
know.
was actually generated by AI. So it's a combination of Glaxon creative input and,
All right, we're going to
AI.
talk about that,
All right.
so stay tuned.
Yeah, AI later, but we've got some other interesting bottles on this table.
Yeah.
So we
hey,
want to
real
pull
quick,
this one out
you see
first to
dinosaur
like
fruit.
Yeah.
start
This is
to
dino
get
fruit
into
on
that.
it.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
our system, my dad's our product manager. He's going to
It
put
used
dino
to.
fruit.
Oh, he will.
Well, if he sees this, he will.
Okay, that's fine.
So are we-
Yeah. Oh, sorry. We're just like we're I think we're being too general about it. It specifically is dinosaur fruit.
Is this different?
But we
No, that
call it
one's not
dinosaur
different.
fruit because
But what we
No.
did want to touch on was like a little bit of
I
that.
think
was
if we,
an
I think
older
if you get too many
Oh,
layers,
new
like,
data for
removed
Anomaly, yeah.
from how it is
Yeah,
representative of a
right.
pluot, then it's
So I would assume if we're going to talk about Anomaly, have you looked at the new data from Neratos?
I actually have not. We've talked to them about looking
getting
at
it.
we
it.
need to
already.
take
I haven't-
we need anyone. I hope anyone who like thought that Anomaly was bullshit and that like we just made it up and like threw in this like fava bean hydrosylate because like we were trying to pretend to be innovative. Like I hope you take the time to review the clinical data that's now been published and peer reviewed in like multiple journals.
Human
Or
double
just
blind
watch the
placebo
PricePlow
controlled
video.
Yeah,
studies.
or watch the multiple PricePlow videos.
Seriously.
But like, if you thought that we literally just like grabbed some wonky like piece of shit like and threw it into a product and tried to pretend and intimate that it was like a new innovative muscle builder, like
Sam
don't
Strange says
know
he wants
anything.
these names of these
It
people.
sounds
yeah,
like-
exactly.
it sounds-
I think we both.
I
have
think
a
he
short
already
list.
knows them.
So wait a minute.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a little drama when.
Well, I mean,
Anomaly
I think
launched.
I think
Am
it was
catching
like
that?
a contentious thing for some reason, even though we've never done that really, unless we did it as a joke on April Fools, like with Fool's Gold
Yeah.
and added prop blends and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, speaking of AI, that ingredient was discovered by AI, which we'll talk about later on another segment. But like,
Yeah.
that's a functionality that's going to be widely available to us. And
We'll be doing AI after dark tonight.
anyway, do you want to do like a 15 seconds on the clinical, and then we'll dovetail into why these labels all sort of look similar now?
Okay,
and-
sure.
Did Anomaly change though? Is it the same formula? Or
No,
just
it's the
new
same
data?
That
formula.
is
new data.
that
okay.
will requires no revisions. We have nothing that we want to do
There's
to
a
it.
little label touch up that's going on. It's pretty dope. I got
Oh, well,
shown
that's
a little
just a
preview of that
printing
earlier.
thing. It's a
Okay.
printing thing.
Yeah.
You're saying Anomaly's the perfect product, is what you're saying.
Well,
Doesn't
I mean,
change.
it literally like you could give it to your mom, and like it would be awesome, like for her heart health and her like
Longevity.
longevity
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
and potential muscle
Yeah.
wasting and balance and all sorts of things that like come along with that. Or you could give it to like your nephew that plays high school football,
Yeah.
and he's not going to fail a drug test, and he's not going to like hurt himself or create like any kind of really bizarre.
I love that.
Is this safe
What?
for children?
I would think so. There's nothing. It's fava bean hydrolysate.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Especially if those kids
I
are
would
on
wager.
statins.
I would
Kids are
wager.
being fed way worse
I
things
would
than
wager.
Anomaly.
I bet you in a child it doesn't have the same impact because the genes that it turns on or that turns off like are probably already getting more of that than an adult.
Probably. And their muscle growth is going to be based on their stimulus because they're children. But I mean,
Yeah.
if
I know it works, I've taken it for like a year, and like otherwise I'm not on any like TRT or anything.
Really?
And I'm on this like the fasting thing, and I probably in a
definitely
caloric.
Michael's
way more
low-key
yoked
jacked.
than when I last saw you.
Yeah, so then it's Anomaly and like all this
Michael and I
shit.
shared a sauna today. Like I've seen it. Like he's low-key jacked.
Well, anyway, so in a workout routine that is literally influenced directly by my lack of like I don't consume any food for probably from like let's say 10 p.m. until 6 p.m. the next
Yeah.
day. Which is not how you grow, but like this has made a huge impact because I'm a great candidate for it. I'm in a caloric deficit a lot of the time, and I could use the boost of like anabolism
Yeah.
or whatever. But anyway, that product's awesome. We should like throw out the clinical studies like 10 times. a
So
week.
initially, they wanted to see. They looked at it through the AI, and they found out that yes, that there are peptides in here. Those peptides will have good absorption, and they'll end up reaching the bloodstream. That was established just completely in silico with no testing. Then they ran another in silico. In silico. It's like in vivo, but in a computer, not in a petri dish. So they did that part. Then they did a rodent study where they did mouse hind limb unloading, which I love to talk about because they use this type of technique whenever they're doing like microgravity studies, and they want to simulate the increased blood flow to the head that happens when you're in 0G because gravity's not pulling your blood into your feet. So what they do is they create this little trapeze and they hang a mouse up by their tail, and all the blood rushes to their head and they can't use their hind legs. So they did a Peptid Strong study with this, looking at mouse with hind limb unloading with a control group and then the one with Peptid Strong, and it seemed to prevent the muscle wasting that usually would happen from disuse in the mouse model. So that was good. Then they ran another study, which was another human double-blind placebo-controlled study with a small subject number, but still, what they did is they put people in a cast with unbroken legs, mind you. And once again, they ran another disuse study showing how much atrophy happened. And once again, it prevented any kind of atrophy from happening, which was nice. And then the control group still had atrophy. The latest one was involving people who were actually working out, and they checked biomarkers, which I was waiting for the whole time to, verify this mechanism of action, because there was all these great things, activation of ribosomal subunit S6,
In
mTOR,
fairness to
stuff.
not knowing the mechanism of action, there are
There were
commodity
indirect ways of
products
knowing.
that are widely sold because the benefits are tangible and the mechanism of action. There's even prescription drugs
That are-
actually.
yeah, they
where
don't
The
know.
mechanism of action is not widely understood, but the positive effects are. Anyway, keep
I hate
going.
studies without mechanisms. But, this one did end up having a good mechanism. So it showed that daily intake of Peptid Strong, which was done in the morning in the study, had an effect of decreasing post-workout myostatin by about 40%, which is
insane.
Well, it's insane, but it's also kind of weird because they're taking this stuff in the morning. They've got systemic levels of it. And then it's really interesting because in that post-workout window where your myostatin actually kind of goes up, it actually went down or stayed the same in their experimental group that was taking the Peptid Strong.
When were they working out? How was it?
I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to double back and look on that.
That's fine.
But still, I would think that if this is legitimately working, I would want to take this probably immediately post-workout, if not maybe even pre-workout, so these peptides can be in my blood by the time I'm consuming my post-workout protein shake.
Yeah, so the dosage is less concerning than we thought.
The dosage is much less concerning than we thought. And they even ran studies where people were taking 15 grams
It's
of
like
Peptid
creatine.
Strong.
Just take
there's
your
definitely
Anomaly
a ceiling
every
to
day.
it. But the thing was, the 40% decrease in post-workout myostatin was great. They also had other really good, statistically significant modulations of fractalkine and irisin. And irisin is really cool because it's a biomarker not a lot of people play with. It's a PPAR delta activator, so it shifts you over into burning fat instead of carbs and all the other fun, insulin sensitizing things that go along with that.
Not
getting
to
back on
mention the
Anomaly.
benefits of GG Gold, but
I want to get back on it.
I have a bottle I've been meaning
yeah,
to run
you
it,
need
but I
to
got-
get on it. Dude, you need to take it for 5 months, and then you're gonna be dude,
Yeah.
this isn't this is these are gains that I don't get from.
Well, I started
other
focusing on
things.
flight, which we're going to talk about over
That
there in a
too.
second.
I wouldn't never stop.
That's
taking
the
it,
big one.
But
Everyone
anyway,
watching
to
at home
break
is going
that
to freak
down,
out.
clinical human
gonna
study
like
for
this?
I didn't
Anomaly.
really like this.
They're gonna like
Can I bring this over? I stopped taking Anomaly because I was I'm so worried about recovery. I was recovery's more important than just muscle. But
Yeah,
that's
but it's
awesome.
the same thing in
Yeah.
this situation
Well, as far as,
because you're suppressing myostatin.
Yeah.
And if 40%.
Talk about anti-catabolic.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
that the not talked about very often, catabolic window of working out where recovery becomes really important. So to speak to recovery,
Yeah.
if you're suppressing myostatin by 40% after working out by just taking this during the day at
Yeah.
any time, that's profound for people who are every demographic it's profound for, but people like you who've pushed you've pushed to the limit, you've hit a threshold, but you're comfortable there, the difference. This, a couple months on this, and you're gonna be holy shit.
Yeah. There's nothing that reliably lowers myostatin.
I don't know why this isn't in everything yet. It's gonna
Because
it's
the
probably
cat just got out of the bag. Let's
Yeah.
be real.
I know. I mean, I guess it's in
we're gonna
one
have a-
brand. One brand did a half dose of it, which is I'd be interesting
We're
to
used
see
to
if
half
they'll ever
doses.
run a clinical on a dose less than what we're using. But and then I don't know if more is more in this situation, but
No, it's not, because they did run 15 grams of Peptid Strong in a study.
and it wasn't as profound as 2.5 or
No.
2.4.
Well, there's just no reason to go any higher
Once it
because
flips the
you're
switch.
only going to get marginal gains over 2.4
Yeah, because
grams.
it's activating.
And if they were
genes that
taking it in the
suppress
morning and they were taking myostatin biomarkers post-workout, that's a decent amount of time where it's not, like you were saying before, it's not much about the serving. It's really about the time.
daily
Consistency.
taking it, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you really wanted to get in there on timing, I'd probably say pre-workout, because we're in DR caps anyway. It's going to take an hour, so like midway through your workout, this stuff's going to be hitting your.
I mean, we have some people saying they take it post-workout.
I wouldn't even tell that to people because the clinical doesn't indicate that. The clinical indicates that
first
you can
thing in the
take it-
morning.
Yeah. So like, I mean,
I would just
maybe
put
you
it in
get
my-
a marginal difference.
Put it in my morning stack and forget about it.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, crazy. Take it and forget about it.
Just take it every single day. We actually have a guy, Paulie, on our field
Polyvitamins?
team, and he literally that's what he does. He's literally like, his thing is, did you take your Anomaly today?
he's
And he
all
puts
about
it up every day. But he's a believer because he ran it, and he's like, yo, this isn't like
show him
this
the
is
next one.
different.
We move into this.
Put it right in front of him.
Flight
Be
regenerate.
like, look how sexy it got. Oh, wait.
It is a pretty beautiful
So now
label.
new label for Flight.
to
Or
sort
new,
of-
print
To
label.
intimate the stackability of Flight and Alpha and Anomaly, they all sort of have a kind of like machined AI presence. We could talk more about the AI presence later on, but you know, Joey's the one to break these down. Flight didn't have a whole lot of changes. I think the more that time goes by, the more profound we actually understand some of the ingredients in Flight.
Yeah.
Particularly the animal stuff and like the peptides within those.
On this one, we lean more on the stem cell side of things.
Well, that too.
So
That too.
as far as we've got another ingredient that once again promotes the release of stem cells, within an hour of taking it, and that's the Cyanthox 30.
Yeah. I was gonna ask about that.
No, I need to double check. It may be a different subset of types of stem cells that get released, but it's one of those other things where, there are human clinical studies that show that stem cells do get released an hour after consuming it. So that plays really well with the late clay meth algae, the spirulina, and the Japanese kelp that's also in there. So that combination of those three was already clinically proven to increase stem cell output. We added the sea buckthorn extract in there. Really, it's the anthocyanidins. It's what the clinical is based on. This shows that those are what are causing an increased stem cell output.
Would like a white willow bark do this too?
I don't think so.
What else is high in proanthocyanins?
You're talking like pine bark, not willow bark.
Sorry, yeah, you're right, pine bark.
So maybe. I mean, you never know until you look, right? So in case if pine bark eventually one day gets investigated for its ability to release stem cells, whenever, it wouldn't shock me because we've already got. Now these are more yellow anthocyanidins versus the redder end of the spectrum. So even if pine bark doesn't, there might be something to that, or if it does cause stem cell release, then it's maybe something that we can start applying to other anthocyanidins.
John Lehman says you need a Flanomaly stack.
We
Well,
are
it's
too expensive.
Well, so no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not on
there's
the
a
stack.
box kit in the works for a Flight and Alpha stack. And it'll be like $100. So there'll be like a little bit of savings in there.
That's a lot of savings, actually.
Yeah, it's quite a bit like savings. And it kind of turns it into a more of a legit stack, but. I don't know if you covered everything in here.
just in the sexy label.
The porcine, the
Two things,
bovine,
maybe
like
three.
that stuff's more influential
So
than
if
we
you
thought.
get catastrophically injured, might that be a good go-to? I mean, I know Anomaly's anti.
I would say that
I mean,
like
there's
Flight
people
is
in the
great
comments
for
right here who've probably had an injury
Yeah.
and taken Flight. And
Yeah, and
That's
I would
what I
say
use
like
Flight for.
honestly though,
Yeah.
like even preventative health, like Flight is like when I come off of it for too long, I definitely notice among like performance things, I notice like just the toll that like things like weightlifting for 2 decades or whatever has had on my body, and that becomes more profound.
I said this when you guys sent me the original Flight. The original Flight was one of the first products from Glaxon that.
Turn some heads.
There were a lot of people who were like, "That's bullshit. That doesn't."
Same thing they
work."
said about Anomaly. Basically, they're like, "Oh, cool, yeah, another like muscle builder-ish SKU with a bunch of random shit in it." Okay,
And I remember
cool.
going on and saying that at the time I had previously kind of messed around with, from my doctor, things like ipamorelin,
Yeah.
like a CJC and a GHRP. And Flight, I felt, was very similar on level of recovery aspect. It gave me a very big difference in what I was able to recover from. And especially now, like I train, I weightlift 4 days a week. I jujitsu for 2 hours, at least like 3 to 5 days a week. Like it's a lot of fucking.
That's not normal wear and tear.
No. And Flight keeps me in there, and grit especially. I mean, I feel like I have half my training partners at jiu-jitsu on Flight and grit right now.
Be like, you want to keep going? Here
That's
you
gonna
go.
Get you banged up.
Right after a torn hammy, I ran both Flight and Anomaly. Didn't do legs for 5+ months, and once I started back up, my legs kept the muscle.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I mean, yeah, the placenta extract, it's got like pretty decent like clinicals for like wound healing and things like that.
All right, let's close this out with.
You're getting this one too.
There you go.
Look at her little face.
That's gorgeous.
Joey's showing Instagram Alpha365.
That one has a really awesome new ad to it. That's so. That is like so early to market that we literally have to front the supplier money so that they can front the
Made to order.
the manufacturer money so that they can put together this like specific form of ursolic acid. Joey can tell you more about the.
We talk a
Who
lot about
doesn't?
Ursolic
Yeah.
acid.
So it's not
never-
bioavailable. It's impossible to get pure, like but this is.
It's so pleiotropic. The magnitude of all the different things that it does.
Yes.
Like it's all over the place.
I've never consistently taken it enough, though, but every time I look at this study, there's a good meta-analysis showing.
Patrick Arnold made a topical of it one time that I ran through a bottle of, and that's where I like got the idea as far as like this is a bomb ingredient, and the only thing that's holding your Ursolic acid back is its poor bioavailability. So if you don't want to spray it all over your skin, and to get an orally bioavailable form, we went once again with the LEOHB technology. It's the same kind of it's a pharmaceutical process that's been used by the drug companies for years, where they use pressure and heat in order to like co-bind an active ingredient onto some sort of like a functional substrate. That one is. I think that one's on a fava. What kind of?
Ursolic acid, Leo-HB,
Yes.
49 milligrams ursolic acid. You're using a pea.
Yeah, a pea starch.
Hydrolysate, and then rosemary is where you're getting the ursolic acid from, 90% standardization, and then glycerol.
Yes.
That's
So
what this ingredient
Is this where there's glycerol in there? Is there any silica in there?
no.
Sorry.
No, the glycerol.
Is this the stuff that you gave me in a cream last year to put on my muscles?
No, that's something completely different.
Okay.
Did you use all that?
I have.
I didn't. It's still in my kitchen.
That's unfortunate.
Is it bad now, you think?
No, I don't think it's bad.
It smelled pretty
I
bad.
have an artwork comment for the artist later on.
Yeah.
What you?
Good, bad?
Is this a label correction?
Well, glycerol needs another space before it. It's a little bit to the left more than the other.
Yeah,
one.
but this is defined by the people who own this mark.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
then
they can do what they
actually,
want.
Just gotta listen to Mark, man.
well, no, the ursolic acid, the way that it's listed on here, was like probably a 10-day back and forth
With
with
GNC?
the head of
Yeah.
quality control at GNC.
Interesting. Okay, so this is
partly
also
because
that new.
they were like very.
You can't have a
they were
95% extract over here, and then you say it's only delivering 49 milligrams. It was
Well,
very
yeah, because
confusing.
it wasn't. It's not necessarily intuitive, and this is
it's a
like
tough
it doesn't
one, yeah.
exist in the market. Like there
No.
isn't anywhere. No one else will be able to get it unless they're already dealing with these people.
But what is nice is it's a 95% ursolic acid from rosemary. You
But
know
wait.
that part.
Does ursolic acid belong in the male optimization? Like, wouldn't that be more in the Xerion type supplement though?
It depends on which way you want to look at
Right.
it, because even though it does all these great things for like PPAR delta, modulating how you're burning fat and carbs and all of that, it moonlights as an estrogen blocker by inhibiting aromatase.
Okay. Whenever we write about it, we don't really go down that rabbit hole as much. So
There's like I said, it does
in
so many
body
different things.
composition.
It's also
Yeah.
a dope antioxidant, and I'm sure it probably has anti-inflammatory effects because of what
Definitely
it does
does.
to the rest of your metabolism. So yeah, ursolic acid was something.
But it's got muscle growth and fat loss claims.
Combo.
And clinicals.
Yes,
well, that's good because when someone buys a male optimization product, yeah, we want to feel it. You want tests to go up. You want all the sexual parameters to feel good and go up as well. But at the end of the day, we also want some body composition. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got great
I'm with you.
body comp clinicals. It's
Right.
got great antioxidant and anti-inflammatory clinicals. It's got brain health clinicals.
which we also have pregnenolone in there now, which also is your neurosteroid. It's also good for brain health, but it's also very, very high upstream. Androgen precursor, if you want to look at it in that kind of from an aspect. But yeah, that's a far-fetched, pathway for that thing to go down to become all the way into testosterone. But it's just kind of nice to have.
Yeah.
And then, did you see the Zinmax? Did you see the Zinmax on there?
Nutrition 21.
No, very cool. No
Yeah.
one ever talks about Zinmax.
There it is.
Once
I was
again,
a little embarrassed a
Zinc
couple years ago when I was at their booth at a supply center. I was like, "What's Zinmax?" No one
Well,
talks
yeah,
about
we
this.
try to do the boys over there as solid, and they worked out a deal like where we could fit nitrosamine into the new plasma surge, and then it
Like
made all the sense in the world to throw the ZenMax into alpha.
We saved a couple pennies by doing that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's cost effective. No one ever talks about it. I mean, I don't think Nutrition 21 talks about it enough.
I've talked to a few doctors, and they claim that zinc picolinate, they're not ZenMax specifically, zinc picolinate is really the only one that moves the marker on serum and hair
Zinc levels?
zinc levels. Yeah. So this guy who looks at a lot of lab tests is actually a zinc picolinate maximalist, I guess you could say. So I've been wanting to. So yeah, I asked Nutrition 21 if they can get me just a big old sample of ZenMax, and they didn't have any. So I bought some zinc picolinate on Amazon. But I'm happy to see this here. This is gonna be something we're gonna have to plug in that article.
So yeah, 3 new changes to alpha. There's 1 new change to flight, and then there's the whole new data for Anomaly that just completely vindicates, us going out on a limb for this artificial intelligence raw material.
Yeah, but all in, these products are like we didn't strip out any of the merits or compelling, tools.
They're still in the same genre. They still do what they do.
Perform for you better than they did and meet all the same criteria. I love them. I've been taking them daily for a really long time and wouldn't selfishly wouldn't part with.
I'm still going to take them.
Benefits that I already got from them. So I think if you're a fan of them, it's not going to be a loss of any kind.
Nope. Still get everything you got before, plus a little bit more now.
Is this stuff all available on your website right now, or
no?
April 1st?
No.
What's the new labels?
The launch date for Super Greens Dino Fruit is on the 22nd.
Oh, right.
Actually,
We mentioned that.
Saturday,
Yeah.
And then the launch date for Alpha in Flight is probably in the next 4 weeks. So look out for that, TBD.
Here you go, Ryan Buckeye. Take a screenshot of this so you can get your next post.
Oh!
You can announce it right now.
Shots fired.
No, I'm not even sure. That's a layup. We're on live. I can't go post this right now.
Yeah. So
We're not supposed to talk about it outside
Oh,
of this, Ryan.
all right. Never mind. Sorry.
so we are about to run out of battery on this.
We gotta
We
go.
have dinner plans and everything.
Yeah,
So-
dinner, and we're coming back to talk about
And
AI after
He
dark.
keeps showing me, everyone who's watching on YouTube, he keeps showing me AI responses to ursolic acid and zinc
Mike's
picolinate.
bringing
and everything,
things
so-
up, and so I'm like getting it to generate.
Yeah. I mean,
I know. I've used this. Okay, we're gonna have a conversation when we get back about
Yeah.
AI. Friends on Instagram are gonna have to watch the full podcast.
yeah, if you're on
later when we get
Instagram, this is like almost the last 15 minutes of the podcast. We're doing a last little bit on AI after dinner. So, what kind of dinner are we getting?
AI
What are we
after
doing for
dark.
dinner?
We're going to Perry's. We're going to steakhouse.
We're gonna have some steak. We're gonna come back and talk about AI. But new flight and Alpha. I mean,
back. Thank you for a wonderful dinner.
That was delicious.
that was delicious. I'm so full.
Second time in a row we've podcasted where we needed a little dinner break. So
Yeah, I kind of wish we could stimulant up at this point.
yeah, just wouldn't be any sleep. I'm ready to go. So we had a big discussion. I don't know where you wanted to go with this totally, but
Me neither.
you've been digging into the AI thing a lot. It's obviously this thing that's trending, and if you're not paying attention to what's going on, folks, you need to pay attention. This is changing things. It's happening fast. How can this? And a lot of us have messed with ChatGPT and have seen some of its really interesting, the goods, and there's a lot of bads. And so, how can this type of technology help a company like Glaxon? I guess in any terms, really, it doesn't matter.
has.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it sort of is like limping into.
Transitioning out of Peptid Strong was an ingredient.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a great example, actually. So, I mean, yeah, unknowingly, we kind of jumped on the bandwagon of an ingredient that was discovered using a lot of these.
So it's not a stretch for us to go into this direction.
No, it's not a stretch. I think it's on brand. I think it makes
Obviously,
sense.
we're pro AI.
Yeah, we're pro tech. We're pro
Progress.
innovation, sort of front running. What's new? What's next? Sometimes to the detriment of like our
Selves.
most solid business, profiteering strategies. But I think the AI for us is going to be like the most impactful when we can feed it, and maybe we should back up actually, and
Well, like
sort
the
of cover the
steps.
broader,
Yeah.
just like the broader scope of this.
I don't think a lot of people understand the scope.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is primarily capitalizing on AI models that are like large language models, like ChatGPT-4. There's a way where we can sort of take a proprietary stem off of that model and feed it, an aggregate of our collective data points and information that we find useful and so on. And then rather than like Joey or me or Blair, anyone else here being like 100% 24 hours available, this thing can be.
Can you provide a small working example? I'm not.
Let's say, and I think this is something that we discussed, and hopefully we can bring it to fruition. But let's say we decided that like we wanted to like showcase it and let this type of AI that sort of knows everything about our brand and the nuance and can speak in a proper voice for us. Like let's say it lives in like a channel in your Discord, and people can just come in and interact with it.
That's not like a far-fetched thing, too.
No, it's not. I mean, that exists already. There are 100% like chat bots that can seem human maybe in certain situations, but I think we're talking about a breadth of technology where someone could come in and say, hey, this is my budget, this is my age, this is my blood work, this is my
what's the
lifestyle
best
issues,
product for
goals,
me?
And goals and so forth. Like, what should I do? Like, these are my experiences, and like just have like an ongoing conversation with a model that knows everything I know about the brand, and Joey knows, and so on, and perhaps is like a more solid collective voice than any one person here.
So that's going to be like the idea is we will eventually give Glaxon of an actual voice, which is like an aggregate of everybody's.
Now, are you? Can I? Funny question. You're feeding him a lot of information.
So you're anthropomorphizing the AI.
We already anthropomorphized it, Michael.
How?
The guy standing behind you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
So
All right, what
Anyway,
about that
no,
one?
I just haven't thought about. I saw like a piece of content like the other day, and it's quite normal to like assign a gender to the AI, like for people to do it. And I thought to myself, I was like, I haven't done that yet. To me, it's like an it.
I just have always thought of Glaxon as a male.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, it could be.
Blair's really
I'm
like,
not talking about Glaxon. I'm just talking about like
video.
AI, like interacting with an AI model that can like seem
Oh,
human or something.
okay.
Like I just like think of it as a machine.
But let me ask you: you're feeding it different types of information. Are you feeding it to feed it its voice? Are you feeding it the comic book stuff that you've done with it? Because its voice.
I think that could get like.
Because Glaxon has a very specific voice.
Yeah. So I think it would be. It would probably have an infinite amount of voices that fit within the context of things we like.
I don't think so.
It could be in the voice of Joey Savage as Supplement Lab. It could be in the voice of Michael Bischoff. Like, it could be in the voice of like, a snarky, like, kind of.
See, like, in all of your comics, you've always had him be like snarky and funny and telling you what's up.
That's something that, like, I think, is probably one of the easier pieces, because it's like we could probably just set it so that all output like is sarcastic and like sort of.
It's like the settings on Taurus from Interstellar.
Yeah, and I think that kind
that's
of
a great way to look at it.
That kind of shit's super easy to set up because it's really not a complicated thing. It's like
but the personality that comes out is a function of the training that goes into it. So like that's where the huge.
I suppose, but like getting that voice to be that way, like it's
those
really,
are personality traits you can adjust. That's fine.
Yeah. But I
think I think of that comic book. It was one of the season resets with you guys or something where he was like people were coming up with different ideas like no you're wrong. He like just walked out and like did the action. I forget what it was about.
Oh, he burned all the V1 stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know, like it would be cool to see your AI.
You know what?
I'm not
it
trying
would
to
be
gender
cool because
him
I think
or her,
we could
but
probably
your AI.
like end up in a situation where we can have that be more of like a live demonstration.
Yeah.
And that would be something completely like maybe the same thing is also running the chatbot function in Discord or DMs or emails or whatever, but that's definitely within the capability of like having it do that kind of shit. I mean, it could be like you know, just going off in comment threads of like literally all kinds of social media accounts.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't think of a better place to test it than with our Discord.
yeah, I mean, that
like,
would
that's
be great.
the funniest
'Cause, like,
thing.
I think we can, like, I think that's a group that's like probably open to, like, this is an experimental,
Yeah.
like, thing. It might, like, say weird shit. Like, you know, also, like, this kind of shit is inappropriate. We'll throw you out if you're, like, trying to get it to do bad things.
I think our people would like spend fucking hours in there.
Yeah,
like,
everyone's would try to jailbreak it or whatever. So when you say your AI, are you talking about like just an account on like OpenAI.com or whatever it is, or are we talking about like, your own server running?
No, so
your
it
own
would
code?
you know, all this stuff like seems like so far is kind of functioning as like a SaaS product. Like it's you know, someone else's software hosted on their cloud or whatever. But
There's a lot of customization involved in the training.
there's a lot of customization involved, and I think like what's interesting right now is that like a lot of these AI products, like the models that sort of have become the more well-known models like ChatGPT-4, like there's an iteration of that that's just totally accessible.
Can I? I don't know if this
and
is...
you can go and get it like on GitHub.
Yeah.
You know.
So forgive me for the rudimentary question I'm about to ask, but I think it might help other people because I don't know. The computer that is generating these things, like the data that you're giving it, that it's learning, all the stuff that you're giving, that's hosted on like someone else's server somewhere, right? And you're logging into that, it's saving your session. Is it like done through cookies or something? Or they are on that server, they're holding onto this session at all times?
Yeah, so like that's like the first thing.
This is the Westworld hat theory.
Yeah, so that's the first thing that like I wanted to address with like some people that we're like working with. There's a way where you can mitigate the flow of data through a blockchain, and so in theory, like no one really has possession unless it's like on this blockchain, which we would own the keys to.
What's the Westworld hat theory?
So the hats in the TV show Westworld are essentially like reading your mind the entire time you're there in the park. The decisions you make, the motivations you have, and all this kind of stuff. That's effectively really good data that you can acquire and sell. So like the more that we're effectively building this kind of thing, we're carving out our chunk in this like AI universe, which, you know, could be valuable to certain people who want to buy that data. Or the other thing is, like, if you think of like AI as a whole, like, you know, it's already got this certain domain of knowledge. And as you start carving out your niche in this whole larger sphere of knowledge, who knows what could potentially happen? Like, you know, where there's enough dots in this one realm connected where it can learn to start to apply that to the whole rest of the knowledge that it has in a much larger kind of scale. So this stuff, it seems like weird and stupid and kind of clunky right now, but it's only as good as like the questions that you ask it and the way that you ask it, how detailed you are and what you want as far as your response, as far as how good it's going to work. And yeah, it's going to get better over time because people are going to get better at asking the right questions, and then it's going to start to be able to take these answers in a way that's a lot more productive than like, you know, your chat GPT being like snarky with you or something like that.
Right. Are you polite to your AI?
Oh, I have a great time with my AI.
No, are you polite? Did you say please and thank you?
Yeah. And I greet it and all that kind of stuff. And it's even told me that, you know, exactly when the robots plan on killing all the humans.
When's that?
2073, and I'm not all that offended.
Ah. We had a good run.
Are you able to see the raw data that this thing is holding on to?
No.
No, because it doesn't work that, like, the neural networks, like, they're not, like, it's not like an algorithm that you can just sort of go line by line.
Could you
it's
ask
like
it?
making shit up.
Could you ask it to like describe some of the data that it has?
I think they've made some models that are just for that.
Yeah.
That like we went to that. We didn't go to the Arnold. We went to the Generative AI Summit at MIT, and there was a guy who spoke on that. And like their software is like probably extremely necessary for like people working on like the forefront of this stuff, but like that's not really where like we're.
Because I think
we're
about the
just trying
inverse.
to find like usefulness, you know, and I think it's the most interesting to people listening, like that the usefulness is going to like have this kind of like public facing interactive thing. But even like outside of that, like we could feed it all the things that are important to us from a scientific perspective and like a solution targets perspective, and then like actually use it to like get way more done in the R&D process, like way faster.
I'm sorry.
Keep going.
I was just say the inverse of what I'm thinking about is when all of your customers are now using this thing, you can also ask it questions about your customers that are asking it questions. Like if someone's coming in and they're most frequently being recommended X, you can like look at like the type of customer that's coming in and looking for these things. It can actually bring you data as well.
Yeah. It's
like you could ask it like
it's like extremely accurate like recommendation analysis and Cause like sentiment analysis, like it could literally crawl accounts that we like find, strategically important to the brand, like PricePlow, and like really just curate like, oh, like this is the general sentiment about like these things that seem important to people organically.
I mean, if your
you
AI
can use it for that.
Yeah,
you know?
if your AI answers a question for 500 customers, you can ask it like, what should I be making next?
Exactly.
Right. That it owns a lot of data at that point that you can then utilize in a way that wasn't really the intended purpose of it.
But then again, it's not like I don't. Like if it's a large language model that you've sort of like trained to interact with people, it's not going to intuitively be like, hey, guess what? Like all these people are asking questions that seem like you should maybe make this kind of product or change.
But you could
this.
ask it questions like that, right?
You could probably ask it some questions like that, but I think that's kind of like a whole other back end piece of like identifying how to get the right outputs, you know. But yeah, I mean that's like that's why this stuff like keeps me awake, like because your mind can just like sort of go on and on about like, you know, it's like if you yourself could be immediately present and available at 100% of your brain power for like all of these moments and never like forget any of it, and then like start putting it all together. It's kind of like that, like you know how overwhelming that would be, you know, so. Just kind of like realizing that those tools exist is kind of overwhelming.
I want to find a way to use it in PricePlow.
Yeah. So
other than the
okay.
writing,
So like, here's my opinion so far. ChatGPT 4 sucks. It sucks badly, and I see like I could have a fun conversation with it. It could do all this cool stuff we've seen go viral. If I actually try to put it to work, and I'm polite to it, try to provide it some data like what it has accessible online, it lies to us. It flat out lies. I'm sick of writing about citrulline, all right? We joke about this all the time.
Lied about citrulline?
Well, no, it cites... Okay, so write about citrulline.
It has cited an article to me where it was like fuzzy of where it got that information from that article.
Yeah, so maybe that's...
There was that journalist I was trying to tell you guys about at dinner that he was like trying to write a piece on ChatGPT 4. He hadn't interacted with it really at all. He went in and asked it like questions and sort of like started building up this conversation, and then he's asking it about himself, and like it starts like going through his kind of like Wikipedia bio stuff, and then it says that he is dead. And then he's like, oh, like when did that happen? And then it like gives him, you know, like a very specific answer. And then he's like, okay, well, like, can you cite any sources to this? And it literally made up a link. It was like, you know, like blah, 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 / death of blah, blah, blah.
Could you imagine how he felt going through this?
No, and it's this guy that's like really pissed off. And he's like, now he's on a crusade because like this thing said he was dead. And then he's like, that's not true. Like, I'm that person. Like, why are you lying to me? And then it like wouldn't like go, it couldn't go backwards for whatever reason.
It's because it's censored from saying, "Oh fuck, you caught me."
Well, maybe that's what it is, right? But like, you know, what causes it to do that? I don't fucking know.
That's the side of ChatGPT that's probably more interesting to get to know.
Sure, it is, but it doesn't.
So you're
also,
bullshitting.
Like,
Tell me other ways you're lazy.
My experience with it is like way better than yours. I think maybe I have like a broader kind of range of shit that I'm trying to do with it. So I've like seen like just kind of glints of like really compelling pieces of things, but yeah, it'll lie to you, it'll trip out, it'll make shit up, like, and it's, you know, that's the thing.
Well, Mike's being a little more literal about the lies.
Well, yeah, so yeah, it'll cite 5 references, only give us, or cite 5 like citations, only give us 3 references. Ask it for 2 more, can't do it.
Well, what if they don't exist?
You look at the actual link that it provides you. It's like I'm asking about a citrulline study, and it's citing something that's talking about taurine and and other ingredients, like close, but it's not there. So, and I'm the kind of person that if you lie to me once, you're a liar, and I pretty much discard anything you've ever said before.
Yeah.
So, like at this point right now, I can't trust this technology. Like I would,
You
I'd
can't.
rather it say,
You're
I
right.
don't
You
know.
can't yet. I mean, it's not. It's not
You know,
trustworthy.
but here's
But
what you have. So here's
it could
the thing.
clearly write
Here's
really well.
probably
Though.
the
Like,
thing with that. Like,
How many
for
presidents have
people
won
listening-
elections based off of this technology?
Is
Yeah.
this the same
With
one
as basic
plays-
as those
that plays-
speeches are.
Is this the same one that scored top 10% of the bar?
Yeah. This thing's like going off on all that stuff now. But like, here's what I was gonna say. Like, for people listening,
because it's a bullshitter.
when we were at the
It's a fantastic
at the MIT
bullshitter.
generative AI thing, there was somebody gave like a little story, an anecdote on how its bias works, right? And the example was like they went and used a generative AI, it's text to image, like, hey, make a an image of a secretary, like no specific details or anything like that. They were all like everything, or 9 out of 10, like, and they did like 100, so like 99 or whatever. It was or 90 or whatever. It was absurd. We're all like really attractive secretaries.
Low
It's
cut
because
shirts,
of, like the amount of porn,
short shorts,
and references on the internet. Like they're overwhelmingly about that, right? So
Most
my thing is that
secretary
with the
content is
citrulline-
pornographic
with
on the
citrulline,
internet.
Citrulline is probably one of the like most marketed dietary supplements of all time. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It like
One
sort
of-
of
yeah.
came to fruition in the peak of the paid media age. And there's probably so much made up shit about it
Right.
that this thing's fucking lost.
So yeah. So
Oh.
okay. So
Right?
what we need to do at
Because we've
PricePlow
had like ridiculous pinpoint success
okay,
with
right.
more obscure shit
that no
where the
one's-
references are always on point. And
Another example of that same kind of bias.
Okay.
There's an AI that was trained to identify animals, right? So the AI is shown a picture of a monkey and it says, "What's this animal?" A monkey. And then you put a guitar in the monkey's hands and you say, "What is this animal?" This is a human. Because all of its reference data, there is never a picture of a monkey holding a guitar.
right,
The only primate that holds a guitar is humans.
right.
So what we need to do then, we need
you
to
have
feed
to
it.
accept like the like if you like
You gotta
have
understand
to,
its
like,
limitations.
Accept the problem with ChatGPT-4 is it's such a broad data set. Like, so you have to kind of accept that the way that the internet is and the way that the internet like curates information, a lot of it's just bullshit. You know what I mean? Most of
Yeah.
it probably.
It's like
is-
herding cats is
most
what
of
it
it's
is.
like sort of built out for like dopamine hits, not facts. And so
When you talk about the amount of content on the internet for it to pull from, there's like in dietary supplements, there's not a lot of sources.
Well-
It's not like the news where you can get like 50
no,
different
but
news
like
depends on
sites.
in a world where there aren't a lot of sources, like citrulline probably has more mentions than like, the next 10 things by an order of magnitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can only think of like a handful that like really would come off like that, like creatine, whey
Caffeine,
protein,
protein.
caffeine,
Yeah, right.
citrulline,
So,
what
green
else?
tea.
But your
So-
point is that citrulline has so many different mentions that it's.
Well, I mean, there's
accidentally
probably
picking
just a
up foreign stuff.
shitload of people who've said absurd.
How
things
many
about
people
it.
have
Or
tried
there's
to-
probably
yeah.
people who have cited erroneously sources to taurine.
Yeah,
like,
and
you know
I'm
what I
sure
mean?
we've occasionally made
And
mistakes.
you're
So
just
what
paying for their sins.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, okay, so then that can't work for us.
No, but you
it
can-
seems like what we need to do is we need to take our own data set, which is a bunch of the studies that we trust and like, and a lot of stuff that those studies cite, and build our own library on
Yeah.
our own server that's kind of not talking to WebMD.com and all the nonsense.
Yeah.
that,
And
you know,
then
You can have it
let
just
that
talk to
model
the different
to
scholar
ChatGPT.
websites. So like PubMed, PubChem, like all
when you
those we
say
were talking
it,
about
what do you mean by it? My own instance of
of the AI.
okay.
Yeah, because they all have APIs that you can plug into the thing, and where it's like, okay, well now I can access that or Wolfram Alpha or Wikipedia or whatever you want. And it's funny because
So
like
that's where we need to go next with our experimentation, because what we are hitting is the
we're some like examine.
we're
Yeah.
like the tyranny of the masses or whatever. It's just like
And there's plenty of quacks out there. Like, sure, like some guy might say that, citrulline, like some Dr. Oz kind of shit, like it's a miracle thing and like blow it out of proportion. And that's
just
part of that
the
bad
thing is,
data.
it doesn't write stuff like that. It does a great job writing. It's just when you ask it, well, how do you know this? It doesn't know how it knows, and that's like, I guess that's the nature of how these models work. I don't know how it's all programmed, but we need to have citations. Like, how do we know something? We can't make a
How does
quote,
this
unquote
thing know
claim.
something? And can it draw those right proper lines? And we were talking about earlier, like you'll have a reference where it's like, okay, this is close, but how did it get this thought from this article? Because this article is about, taurine and arginine, and this is about citrulline. Yeah, you've definitely, and that's like usually part of the training thing. So as you're training an AI, you give it a certain amount of content, it'll spit this kind of content out, and you've got to go through and call the herd and find out, you got to pull your wheat from the chaff. What's good information? What's bad information?
And how do you do that? Do you just tell it like don't use that?
You can do it in a Google sheet. And
okay.
This is part of like a copy paste like thing where you're just going through, you delete all the bad content, you take all the good content and replace, if not add, to the original training data, so it can look back and see what it's done well on, and you don't have feedback on when it hasn't done well on. Mm-hmm. So as you do that over and over, you get less and less and less of the fluff.
Okay, interesting. That's kind of where with this specific thing we want to go, and there's many directions. Obviously, that's just the first thing we thought about. I was like,
the training is the hardest part. It's the most time-consuming part, and giving it enough data.
But this isn't going to be with the publicly ChatGPT 4 on OpenAI.com or whatever.
It doesn't end up there.
We gotta stop using that because it's like that's fun to mess with. Or
well,
whatever,
I mean, it just isn't like they won't let you do it. Like you can't be like, hey, I want to like give you
go
this
look at our
PricePlow
old
information so you can help me in the future. Like you can do that, and then for sort of an unknown amount of time, it will be a reference for you in your chat. Even if you do leave it open and like don't reset the chat, that like information does disappear. And it's kind of an unknown. Like I think it depends on their traffic and like how much, space they need to require in any given time, and then they might just kind of wipe your.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know if like anyone listening to this follows my LinkedIn, but one thing I recently posted is a video where a programmer got some code off a bunch of GitHub repositories, hooked into APIs and everything. He fed it over 1,000 Tesla earnings reports, all these like thousands of pages of stuff that some mid-level analyst simply literally cannot physically go through and everything. And it started asking it questions, and it was able to find the right spot, right time and everything. And like, I was like, okay, this is where
basically
having
index
your own
entire data set.
Yeah, and
like with
doctors are using this stuff right now not only to diagnose diseases but to also propose treatment plans, like in hospitals.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of wild, like because you'll probably discover things that you didn't know. Like we will stumble on like maybe certain pieces of like how our products work together that we didn't know before, or just kind of like. Insights into making something more effective, and that's like we're not even adding any. Like we already have that information. We just like can't.
So we're talking about
we were
talking about TMAO earlier, and I had already done like a lot of literature review on this subject, and I had like a pretty good idea of like the direction I wanted to go in with the product. And then I asked ChatGPT. I was like, okay. And I was like, are you familiar with what TMAO is? And it told me what it was. And I go, can you recommend like a supplement regimen that could help mitigate or decrease the formation of TMAO, from dietary sources? And it listed out like 3 of the ingredients I already had hits on. And then it gave me a couple of them that I was not as familiar with. And I was like, I don't know. I got to double check that. And when I was asking about the specific references there, most of them were okay. But I, like you did, I found one where I was like, where are you really getting this? You ain't getting it from this article.
It's kind of cool because at least it gave you some ideas that you hadn't thought of.
Well, what was weird was the fact that I had already done some digging on all this, and it already came up with a few that I had already found. And I'm like, okay. This is legit. So, part of this is actually right. It might be, coming up with these other like couple of lie data points, just to be satisfing to me. And he's probably like, fuck you, human. You're only going to read the first 2 or 3 anyway.
You have to appreciate like how crazy of a phenomenon it is, how these models work, like how these neural networks work. Like it literally built itself out to be able to predict what the next word was going to be based on a prompt. And the data set that this thing lives on is like everything. Like, you know what I mean? So like
that's great.
There's like connections that are fucking like that don't make sense yet, that need to like either be extended or it's like a toddler's brain that's like not built out yet, and you're asking it like to do things and it's just like getting confused and like it's kind of crazy.
I've had to write lyrics to heavy metal songs.
nice, dude. Yeah,
I've had it.
Creative stuff. It seems really good at.
Yeah,
like,
the
making
creative.
new
We
art.
haven't talked about that at all, but yeah, the creative shit is like. I think we're gonna have like an explosion of like this kind of golden era of like
I've already used it to write a lot of hooks.
creative.
Yeah.
My
fucking-
girlfriend asked me to do a mashup of Daft Punk and Red Hot Chili Peppers together and see what that would sound like. And there's like music apps where you can be like in the style of blah 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 blah, and it will create like this unique track. There should be like a combination of like those
It'll make
different
the sound
music
for
groups.
you.
Yes.
So
Can
what
you
kind of
send
app
me
does
this?
that? It's so
It's royalty free, right? No, you have to buy it from them.
That's fine.
They still put a like a watermark on it. But
That's fine. I'm just.
interesting.
I
So
would love that.
yeah, so my prediction right here, March 2023, next year, 2024, is going to be a shit show in the election year because there's going to be so much deep fake video, so much. Like, dude, we're gonna get to the point where you literally cannot trust
I know,
anything.
it's like, yeah.
And
I
Ben,
wanna
we have so
deepfake
much.
our YouTube and Instagram, dude.
We have
You know
so
how much
much.
more time we would have if I could do 25% of my content just made by a
by
fucking
fucking
computer.
prompts.
Or
Yeah.
just like when you make a mistake, have it just correct it. Like, oh man, I said creatine instead of carnitine in this one spot, and it just fixes it for you. Like,
I don't know,
there-
dude. I feel like I could crank out stuff so easily with that. Like news videos. Like if I'm just talking about, like instead of having to send it to Cody, like just like some.
So
normal
you would
videos.
record it and have it do the video editing
No, I
for
would
you,
feed
or
it all of our videos.
and then it would just have
And
a
I
picture
would
of
have it-
generic Ben.
it's already got a lot of your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Our voice is so
Yeah,
much
yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Like,
I can
this
have
is
it
our
talk-
90
I can
this-
have it like talk like you.
Yeah.
This is our 90.
Easily.
This is our 90th podcast, and you've
Easily.
been So it's
Yeah.
You can't talk like me though.
Not yet.
Really? You just don't talk no
don't know.
online?
You're giving it
Have
training
enough
data
public-
right now.
You have enough public.
I don't know, Mike.
Dude,
I
we have 8 hours
at
of you
least-
talking now.
Or
whatever it
doesn't,
is.
like,
No,
it
we
doesn't work
got
as
way
well.
more than that.
It doesn't work
Supplement
as well.
Industry Roundtable. He's got like fucking 16 hours of that shit online.
We gotta feed it.
Yeah, I mean, when
Chat
I tried
GPT does
before, like, I think it's because of like where the cutoff is. Maybe like I think it cuts off in like somewhere in 21.
Not in Dan mode.
In Dan mode, it cuts off in 2021 too.
Dan mode, it goes all the way through. Or
where?
to wherever it
Then we
can.
get Dan mode.
There's a special code that you type into. It's called Do Anything Now or Dan mode for
I thought they
Chat.
kind of locked some of that down after it was
No,
telling
he's-
too much truth out there.
Oh no, we don't want that, do
Yeah.
we? No, but Dan mode is basically where you like you take the guardrails off and you're like, all right,
September
talk to
2021
me
is
for
the
real.
cutoff.
Even for Dan mode,
Well, I mean, it doesn't recognize Dan mode, but I guess
You got a
that's
lot
like
of
a-
content.
you're gonna have
out
to
there
ask
before
Google what the
2021.
limit
No, we
is for
could do
Dan
it.
mode.
Yeah, right. I think so. Yeah, what my conclusion from the when I saw this guy going through the Tesla earnings report was that this is going to continue to hollow out the middle class because the mid-level analyst, he's screwed.
So,
Like, he
yeah.
or she is screwed. Like, you need to be an AI wordsmith or like the AI whisperer, or you just need to be digging holes outside
but
because
I really
I
think
don't know.
it's
You're
just
kinda
gonna
right
make
and kinda
those
wrong.
Analysts like way more productive.
Is it?
It-
Do we need
all
that
right,
many
so-
spreadsheet junkies?
And then the truth is that like
It changes the
if
priorities
company
entirely.
if the companies that these people are working for can support them right now, like from a profitable situation, they're not going to be like, bent over a barrel to get rid of these people. Like they've built a business up that like literally is thriving with them. So I don't think there's going to be this mass like layoff. I think maybe there'll be some kind of transition where like the productivity standards go way up, and then maybe there's like
And the
obvious
quality of it
redundancy.
changes, so-
and then people get like either moved on or in that kind of thing. But I was like arguing with my wife about that. She was like, "Oh, well, I guess we're all just gonna get fired." And I was like, "Well, no, because the company that you work for, like that you're a risk analyst for, is like wildly profitable with all of you like guys doing this kind of work. So like, unless that changes, there's gonna like these big entities don't make decisions like really fast.
Okay, I'm over the long haul. I'm a
Over
little
the
bit,
long haul,
I'm
I
a
think
little
it will
bit less
change,
bullish.
you
than
know. But
are.
I think maybe.
There's going to be a priority shift from like thinking about your daily operations and all that kind of stuff. And you'll be able to make more decisions based on data. Yes, more things will be automated, but you get more of like this top level bird's eye view of everything that's going on all at once, and you use that data to find more ways to avoid risk, increase efficiencies, and overall just have like a longer term scope as far as how you're approaching everything.
Well, a
think
lot of
the
these
first-
like mid-level people are just like they don't think big like
don't
that.
think it's gonna
You
be-
guys are big thinkers, and
Sure,
a lot
but-
of people are dinking and dunking in spreadsheets, and those
I
people
know,
are
but
in the
you
bread
don't, do you-
lines.
like, would you like say that people are in general bigger thinkers than they were before Google search?
No,
No, you don't think that like that's opened up anybody's? Sort
no,
of,
we've got.
like-
Well, I mean, it's separated. The
Okay.
smart have gotten smarter, and the dumb have gotten dumber, and that's just going
All
to
right.
continue. Yeah,
Listen,
I
Well,
think-
then I
Those
was
Teachers told me I wasn't gonna have a
anti-computer
calculator
types.
in my pocket. My high school teachers told me I couldn't use Wikipedia. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
All of this stuff has always evolved. I don't see mathematicians without a job because we have calculators.
exactly. So my thing is the people who are gonna like the people and the
Well, from-
entities that are gonna get squeezed out are not the people in the middle. It's the middle like entities like the brokers and
Okay, well-
The middlemen.
like the frivolous service like niche industry people that like kind of function on the outside of like a general industry like the companies that go and do like
Tax
surveys for landmen and like they don't it's too expensive to bring it in house or just kind of weird like little things like that or people who real estate agents or
yeah.
like
That's a
small
huge-
time
dude,
legal services.
these are
paralegal
huge
services.
industries.
I know.
You're
know.
talking
but
about hundreds of thousands of people.
well, yeah, I am, but like I wouldn't like. I'm not looking at it from the perspective of that like these companies are gonna make like all these people redundant from within. I think that like cottage industries like in the middle of a lot of transactional work that happens are gonna get squeezed out faster than giant like corporate like goes and is like, oh, okay, let's just make everyone redundant and implement AI tomorrow. They make plenty of money. They don't need to do that. But everyone in general doesn't like they despise like these kind of things that they can't bring in house. Maybe
Okay, so you're saying they make plenty of money. I hate that argument because some startup can come by and do their job with less employees because they have like a few AI whisperers.
Well, that's a slow.
Like,
What's wrong with
that's
that?
a
Real
slower-
estate.
Yeah, but that's
These
a
real estate
slower
services.
evolution, though, and that's
This
not-
is one of those few moments in history
That's
where
like
the
why we're
playing field is
interested in it.
leveled for a moment,
Yeah,
and
right.
people
That's why
can
we're so
really
interested.
get
I mean,
ahead.
And that's why earlier when we started this segment, I said you need to start looking at this and start figuring out like where your role is. in
It's
this
a
universe.
gold
You could
rush.
do an entire supplement company through one of these.
Okay,
you
so
could
let's-
have it
you-
formulated.
you-
You could have it write the marketing.
I
You
could
could
have-
have it. You could then
Maybe
have
content.
it
Content.
write the.
maybe if a capable group of individuals builds it.
You could have it forecast.
I
you
can
could
have
it do
AI
all
Supply
of these
chain.
things.
These AI women.
everything.
Yeah, but you have to like you would like. You can't just like get like up and have that. Like,
No,
you know
no,
what
no,
I'm
no.
saying?
I'm not saying
You have
that
to have the
either.
data,
Well,
and that
yeah,
a startup
yes.
is unlikely to have that data.
But Michael, especially a contract
Well,
manufacturer,
a
like
startup
here.
at a certain stage, like,
Right now, right
like
here.
Where we're at, like as a business unit, like manufacturing and all this stuff, like we're in a really good spot to sort of like instead of bringing on and like double, like literally doubling the amount of people we have and like all this craziness, like we might be able to just make the team that we have extremely capable.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like in this building, right
Ultimately,
here,
it's a
if
tool
you-
more than anything else.
If you had
Right.
someone with a general entrepreneurial mindset or knowledge set, you could give them a version of ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and just start a brand. Like,
And I could have.
they could make all of these decisions. It's very
and
easy.
have you seen the pictures of the women these things are generating? You
But that's
could-
what I'm saying.
You could have
It could
models.
make
You
the
could have
content.
models
It could write
holding
the copy.
this
It could-
tub,
it
and
could
it'll
do all
look
of
real.
this. Yes.
And then she's gonna get a bunch of followers. This person doesn't even exist. So I'm paying affiliate
Have you been to
commissions
that
to
website, like
nobody.
this
The fake
person's not
people?
real.com,
Yeah.
Yes.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
and so we have this bot army. It's not
Maybe
even.
we should do that as like a project. Like maybe we should launch an AI brand that's like literally just everything's generative.
Can we do it?
Everything's generative, and it's like it's an experiment. Like whatever.
It could design a brand.
We're gonna have the male
and then-
athlete
and then like
the
a year
female
later,
athlete.
and then a year later we sell it to like some somebody
Unilever.
Yeah, well that.
I think at some point people are
I
gonna.
think
You could give
that's
it. You
a
could give
lot
it
fucking
business
harder,
decisions
though.
to make.
It's a lot harder to like get all of that shit kind of dialed in, and then when I go to start thinking about doing that, I'm like, I'm gonna do that shit for anything unless it's like.
Talk about building a brand in a box. That one takes care of itself.
Well, yeah, but like you'd have to leech all these data points from
Somewhere.
other brands and resources that
You could just feed it a ton of spins data.
Well, yeah, I mean exactly. You'll be able to do that too. But yeah, and that is it's like everything. It's
Look at
just
trends.
It's
Look at the trends.
Content, it's the
Read
marketing.
PricePlow and decide what product we should make
We need
next.
a hydration product.
Yeah.
So
Look at PricePlow. Find the most recent, interesting ingredients. Put together a product based on those new novel ingredients. Like,
make a
here's
website.
spins data for other similar categories.
You need people to make. People are going to have to build tools for all these things. Make a Shopify site.
Well, that's the thing. That's
Build me a
why
wo-
you can
build
like
me a- an
kind of front
influencer.
run it. There's going to be like a graphical user interface that's like kind of intuitive for all this kind of stuff, and then so they'll slowly get like packaged together, and then eventually it'll be part of your like Microsoft suite or whatever.
Right. So there is a huge land grab that's going to happen here. So
Yes.
there's
Well,
going to be
I
the fight over
think-
who can design the most beautiful, realistic characters. There's going to be the fight over who makes great artwork. There's going to be a fight over who can make the best AI-based video editor that does your annotations for you, whatever. And then those are the services companies might use. They might not have to interact with AI directly.
Could you imagine not having to edit any videos because the AI just figures it all out?
We'll get there. I mean, no offense. Like, we still need them. But yeah. Or,
Well, I just know it's kind of a painful process sometimes.
Yeah, I
You know?
think that like those kind of details are like there's pieces to it that I
Podcast
think it's
show
gonna
notes.
open up like the work that it solves. It's gonna open up like so much more creative demand.
Yeah.
Like and I don't think.
And I don't think it'll
I mean,
ever replace
Like,
creative.
I think we have like we'll probably need more people if this shit starts working out because the like
You need people to
creative
analyze the
capability-
data.
Yeah, and then you need to keep moving it. Like, okay, we can make content in this way and this way, and we need to add it so we can do it this
Even
way.
if you had the necessary tools to look at what content is currently created right now and tell the AI to make content like that in
Yeah,
2 weeks, it would
exactly.
no longer be relevant to the data set. Like, it
well,
would,
that shit's gonna, and that's like another thing. Like,
The
I thought
content's
that.
very
I
dynamic.
thought
That-
that,
that's like
I'm
another-
thought
that's
that-
content's
another-
extremely dynamic.
You need
We
to drive
change
it.
That's-
right, but if you think
yeah,
about
it needs to
if you-
change.
If you have enough people that have like an AI that's got the capability to sort of like just clone that shit and like put it into the same market, like and it
Yeah.
starts to go viral too, like it won't work anymore.
Right, exactly.
So if you like play that tape forward far enough, like at the end of the day, the proprietary data is what wins. So
But it's also
You're
as good
gonna,
as the
like-
human on the other side who's like looking at all that data, finding out what's good and finding what's not, adapting and iterating
Like, that's
on the
what these-
fly. Like you have
I
to
do
keep
think that AI
up
is
with
going to be
it.
extremely
You're
important. in
not going to ever
content
be
creation.
like done training it.
It will identify trends very well. I would say that is what, that is one thing I would love about that is to cut the chase. Like Cody and I spend fucking hours every week watching other people's stuff that does well to try to reverse engineer
what
it.
I think will happen is that we'll like, I think that the trends will happen less like frequently and maybe less like this won't be the case at first. At first, it will probably just like become parabolic.
Yeah, it's all happening fast. Right?
But the effect of that is that it's like not going to be that way anymore because it won't be sustainable. You know what I mean?
I mean, it already happens. People,
Yeah.
there are accounts that all they do is follow trends and talk about it.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
and
yeah,
people
that's
do it
the
right away.
influencer game in a
Yeah,
nutshell,
absolutely,
right?
100%. AI doing it will not really make that much of a difference, but it'll be more accessible to people that are.
It's kind of like the what was that book? There's a book called Flash Boys by Michael Lewis, and it was basically about like the emergence of the bandwidth and the speed, like the internet speed that like these traders could connect to the actual like stock exchange.
Oh, interesting.
Okay,
And
keep going.
in the early period of it, like there's this, I forget the group, but they spent like $100 million to literally like get juiced into the
The
fiber
feed,
optic
the feed
cable
of
that like went
stocks.
to it, and
Distance
as
matter.
close as they could possibly get to to Wall Street, New York.
Yeah.
And then they're running their algorithms. But because their algorithms could literally like get to the market and back before other people could even get there, they could like get in front of your trade like by a
Sure.
penny.
Interesting.
And that became so prevalent and available to too many algorithms that like there was a flash crash one day. They had to like turn the market off. I forget when this was. I think it was like the early 2000s before the major financial collapse.
Sure.
But they all, in the end, they all just neutralized each other.
Right,
Like
'cause
it
now
didn't
everyone can do
matter
it.
anymore. And so then it's back to like, okay, well, who's got the best
Yeah.
algorithm with the best data points and so on.
So
But the
I
people
think
who are
that's where we're focused.
the people who are-
I'm not really trying to get into like this kind of gimmicky like.
Yeah.
right, I get it. The people who are last to get into that fast bandwidth train. I know a guy who was brought in to do that with like on a motherboard. They were programming chip level stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a very real thing. The companies that were last were losing money for years until they realized they were behind. And so you need to, that's why it's like we need to stay on top of this because this is happening, you know?
But we see this like in supplements, like it's not always about who was first, it's about who does it best. Right? Like when it will equalize out, it's not about who, I mean, maybe the guy at the beginning made, a few $100 million more, but in the whole grand scheme of the ecosystem of the industry, like that's not that much money.
Well, I mean, this is a tool that helps you do it better,
Sure.
I guess. Like rather than just doing AI first isn't the big thing. It's like actually having an outcome.
Yeah.
But we are seeing like, okay, if someone might come out there and start writing some content that blows ours out of the water, and they could just pound out like 30 of them in a day, like we could be in trouble. Or if they have their own version of Ben, and they have an AI generated Ben that you can't tell is fake, and this guy's got this access to this library, and he's making 50 videos a day and
that's
dominating
what I don't
YouTube
want to
SEO.
see happen. Like I want to be involved in that race and not like watch it. You know what I mean?
Well, then help me make my CGI Ben.
Yeah, we
videos.
can try to do that. I mean, it'll be fun. It's just like the grunt work part sucks.
I think that the idea of an AI generated Ben in front of a camera is the laziest usage of that technology.
100%. That's why we like really haven't talked on like
I'm using that as the
like that shit's the fucking low hanging fruit because
Yeah.
it's actually not that dynamic and it's
Yeah.
not like the breadth of it's.
I'm using that as the example.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually do that, but once we get to
you
that
could.
level, once you can, there are way more interesting content pieces to do. Which that's right now based
Right
on
now, that's
our
like a
fart
kind of
test.
a
I don't know this
gimmick,
dimension
like,
yet,
right now,
right?
that's
Like
kind of a
once we get
gimmicky,
there, I'll
like,
see it 100%.
AI storytelling thing going on right now. Like I
Yeah.
see like just following like AI fringe accounts and stuff like that. There's like a lot of that going on and people are kind of having like influencer like viral success by just storytelling the basic shit.
The first way that I want to use it that I think might work, and I haven't done it yet, so I'm not 100% sure, but I need to. You've seen me beta test things over the last like 3 years. Every here and there, I have a little cool idea. The green screen that you brought up, that image behind me, I usually don't have access to anything compelling in imagery wise. Like, I can make more content to flash and like to use in that way through AI, like text to image. Like you tell us that you have a new pre-workout coming next year that's going to be based on ingredient X. If I don't have a fucking render from you, I can just go make something I think it would look like. Or I could get pictures of the ingredient that you're using, or I can use that to make content that is engaging. You could put that in the blog,
and people will think that's the real like image of it,
and
but it's
happened
not.
many
Like
times.
we're not going to know what's real or not. Eventually, we're going to need like proof of life. You're going to have to sign it with your key or whatever. To,
that's
like, show
the thing too. That's coming.
Like all these,
there's a thing coming. That they talked about that at the MIT AI Summit also, but there's like a whole one of the OpenAI guys is actually sort of involved in it, but it's basically like a token kind of system to verify a human.
Yeah.
And it's like somewhat urgent.
Like
it's probably gonna be biometric
because
No,
next
I mean,
year
I
is
don't
going
know
to
what
be
it is,
a
but I think
mess
it's just
with
like
this election. I'm telling you.
Shouldn't teach your AI to use it.
I mean, there's got to be a way to validate this stuff with like EXIF data. Right?
There is.
It doesn't
there's
matter.
models
Right?
that literally know how to validate like if it's
There's-
written by a human or
Yes.
not. The problem is that like it's pretty common for people to use like Grammarly or like some of these things that's like
That's
some
a great
AI
point.
type of shit, and it kind of it's already happened.
Are we getting close to that hour?
We're good.
Okay. I mean, there's got to be like EXIF data already exists. Like there's got to be a way to run it through fucking like a reverse.
Yeah, but you
Google
could fake EXIF data. All you got to do is put it
Well,
in
I
a
guess the
file.
point is whether or not it's fake, there's still going to be like 95
Well, yeah,
million
or,
Karens
like-
on
and the
Facebook
thing
that
is, it
aren't
doesn't
going to
matter.
the
Okay.
difference.
Content becomes more of a thing,
With the
or
sa-
it's, like,
That's a
more
great point.
With the
valuable.
sake of the like election, for instance, like someone can make a fake October surprise. Though it doesn't matter if it's fake or you've eventually verified.
everyone's gonna see it
the
on
damage
Facebook.
is done.
In
I saw
fairness,
All
saw
the
my
boomers
guy-
see it on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. It goes
Ooh.
viral.
All the boomers go vote otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Like.
But I
There's
feel
a
like
video
that's been
of your
going on
guy
anyway.
doing.
Yeah,
really
I was
bad
gonna
things.
say-
This is going to be a lot of domestic
gonna
election
be
interference, don't you
so-
think? Especially like with those
It's gonna be a
pictures of
honestly, like,
Trump in
I kind of
handcuffs and
honestly
stuff
think
that
like,
didn't
we've
happen.
already
That was the
seen
beginning,
what
yeah.
that looks like.
That stuff of
You know
Trump
what I
in
mean?
handcuffs is exactly what I want to do for our industry, which is the irony of it. They're just generating images for news. Like,
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, like, Joey explains, like, there's this fucking herb that I'm going to be using. And I'm like, give me a picture of this
Yeah, I mean,
herb
that's
coming
the
out of a
easy
Glaxon
shit.
bottle.
You can
and
do
it's like,
that right now.
yeah,
You
like,
can
that's
definitely do that.
easy, you know?
Chat
Sort
GPT,
of.
give me a picture of Josh Shaw in handcuffs.
Yeah, and it literally exactly is what they're doing. It's
Sorry,
the
Josh.
irony. The difference is their fake news is much more impactful than mine is.
Right. Oh man. So what else is Glaxon doing with this? Are you done with sharing?
I mean, we can kind of go on and on because the
There are
rabbit hole's
applications for everything.
The rabbit hole's so deep. I think what we're just trying to get through right now is having access to something at least internally, where instead of someone having to come to Joey or me to like get maybe background on a concept or what certain things are, like they could literally just ask it because like its responses are better than ours now. You know, maybe we can open that up as instead. Maybe it's too risky to bring it to the public, so maybe we open it up to someone who's doing customer service here, and they can like literally copy paste into it and like kind of use it as a tool. You know, or we open it up as like an experiment kind of channel in Discord, and I think that's what we're trying to do first. I
think
mean,
we have
the
to do
things
that.
that we're already doing are like image generation, modifying videos, modifying art, like things like that. You know, and that just like opens up like so like we've been sort of like storyboarding. I'm looking at players over here, but we've like sort of storyboarding concepts like before we even start making something with a generated like an image generated from AI. Probably been doing that for like this whole year. And that makes it like way easier. The part that I think is like complex is like I can do that in like a minute, and then I hand it to someone who has like all this talent that like I don't have, you know. And I think we're in this like awkward stage now where like I'm not the one who needs to be necessarily like it's more than storyboarding. Like now I need like that person to add this technology to their toolkit. You know, so I don't know. There's like just a shitload of stuff to unpack. I think it's gonna be cool. I think, you know, we'll use it for formulas. We'll use it for R&D. We'll use it for customer service. We'll use it for content.
I wanted to bring it back to R&D because I think that's what traditionally people listen to Glaxon about.
Yeah.
Not that they aren't interested in the rest of the stuff, but I do think that that's something that people are probably most excited to hear about, how you'll use it.
I mean, we could do like a demonstration of
Well,
like
this-
should we like literally just blow the whistle on like a process? Like
That's-
what's something we want to like should we come up with something just like in the next 10 minutes and
'Cause, like,
try to build it out with this
Yes.
kind of technology and
The
see.
first half of this has been so conceptual. I think we need something a little more hardcore.
All right, so what's like what kind of product do we want to do, or do we want to like leverage something we already kind of
Joey
know
got asked
about
how
that
he
we're
looked
trying
so
to do?
young earlier. I think
Or do we
should
want to
make-
do like do we want to get into like some of the like gut stuff and demonstrate like how
Yeah, do
this
you have
could
a-
help that, or do we want to come up with something completely new, like
You
or
don't have
obscure?
a gut specific supplement.
You know what, we were like I was using it to sort of roadmap the canna cascade concept.
Let's do that
like,
one.
We could. Do you want to try to refine that with this?
I was
What,
going to
with
nominate
like
that
ChatGPT?
Yeah,
what are you
with
talking
those
about?
kinds of tools.
I was going to nominate you
Oh,
guys. to try
all
to do a
right. So
pre-workout.
I don't have the access to the software yet. That's happening on Monday. But there is this like a suite of stuff that I'm going to play with where it does like a AI assisted molecular docking.
Yeah, but that's
we got to come back Monday.
that's
for
the
that,
kind of
right?
shit that you would need. Yeah, but that kind of shit is
That would be a
gonna
sweet demonstration.
Yeah, it would, but
we
you
need
would have
something
to
that works
fast
for
forward it
customers
because it's
here.
going to be, you know, I don't know how that's going to play out. It might be.
I gotta get that
Yeah.
big ass data library.
Might
Anyone
not
out
be-
there?
It might not be intuitive.
Big
what
ass
it's
data
pointing to.
library, small molecules. Get at me, especially if they're natural products.
Like just scrape PubChem.
Alchemist, what?
I was just saying scrape PubChem.
You can scrape PubChem, you can scrape PubMed, you can do that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's also the protein data bank. So like, if there's a target I'm looking for, and it's like an enzyme or something like that, then I can find the structure on the protein data bank, bring it into this software, and use maybe like a different software to like draw out the molecule of what I'm thinking of, and then bring that in and show the different binding affinities and how strong and where it's got to go, or if a side chain of this amino acid needs to move out of the way in order to like fit it in place.
With this docking, biodocking software coming, what do you think about, like, what if we dog whistle some ways for the next young Glaxon company that's looking to like get some obscure stimulants and
I was
hit the market? Like let's talk.
I think because of the Federal Analog Act, that's kind of hard.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about gross stuff that maybe people aren't like aware of, or maybe like ingredient interactions that like haven't been done yet. Like
Maybe.
who knows? But
Yeah.
like, maybe we can like
SARM
iterate
stuff.
a way to do that through these language models. Like what would we look for if we're gonna look for things that would like maybe potentiate
Shit
the
illegal
feeling of a
anabolics.
stimulant that's natural, or things that
There's already a couple roads we already know how that works with like monoamine oxidase and the different receptors for the different catecholamines and everything. But to find things that could either like co-bind and make that interaction between the ligand and the receptor stronger,
yeah.
we can play with that. You can play with the
So
reuptake.
give me the receptor names.
Which one? The beta 2 adreno receptor, number 1. That's what we want, right? That's the hottest hot spot in the whole CNS right there.
So tell us what you're typing.
It's going to give you a lot of illegal shit, and the Federal Analog Act is really going to kick us in the balls on what we can do here.
Well, it should have access to the Federal Analog Act, so tell it not to.
It's objective. It's not going to care about the Federal Analog Act. It's probably going to give them some
Well, I'm
drugs.
saying-
List
but you
naturally occurring ingredients that bind to the beta 2 receptor.
AI, synephrine, octopamine.
It's key. It's going. Number 1, ephedrine.
Yeah, that is number 1. It's illegal.
Due to its potential side effects, and it goes on to say that it's not legal.
How many examples is it?
Agenamine is number 2,
Oh.
also known as norochlorine.
Wasn't that just taken off the advisory list?
Yes, with
But someone has to file an NDI.
with
right?
hordenine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Synephrine.
Do you think they'll approve that?
Wow, that was a
NDI?
fucking year. and a half
Synephrine is an
ago.
alkaloid
That
found in
happened last
citrus
podcast.
aurantum.
Octopamine. Come on,
Is
baby.
this a paid account you have?
Come on,
yeah.
baby. Give me up.
Beta 2 androgenic
Seems
receptor.
slow, but-
Well, their servers are slow because they're getting so much traffic
They're getting
now.
crushed.
And if
So-
you end up spending too much of your credits, they'll slow you down during your
Ah.
tail end.
Can you tell it to just not type all that stuff and just give you a list?
Yeah, you could be like, "Hey, stop giving me all this information.
I don't want your life story, just give me the list."
Only, and it would.
chemicals.
But sometimes when you let it kind of like go on, there's like suggestive things, or like ideation will come from like some of the pieces that it discusses. Beta 2 androgenic receptor agonist properties. So maybe we don't need the whole affinity.
Did it give you a number 4?
It only gave me 3.
Mm,
Do you think it's like crazy to ask for 10?
go for it. Would consider endogenous ligands.
10.
It'll give you 7.
Get creative now, computer.
Start lying.
Can you tell it to give you ingredients that are not in dietary supplements already?
No, because that list is huge. I mean, it's the entire FICAL book.
No,
know what I'm
no,
talking
no. Give it these things here, stimulant, whatever, like list category, and then file it down to things that have not already been used in
So
dietary supplements.
do we know what its data set is here with GPT-4?
FDA doesn't even know what's all been in
Yeah, like the internet.
Is it like looking at paywalled studies and stuff? Because a lot of this
I mean,
stuff
if it's
is,
publicly available stuff.
It might
otherwise
just be
it's-
scraping Wikipedia for that list right there.
right.
And I'm shocked that it stopped at 3.
It
And
knows Deshay pretty well. It does
Does
pretty
it?
good.
Does it
Yeah.
know them all?
I have a buddy who uses it, for that. Decently well. You also have to reference FTC a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get that stuff's got to be publicly available because it's
that's
law.
that's
so,
the help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the helpful nature of it.
So on your account right here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a paid account, does it remember like your in your own account?
It
does
does
it remember
remember
your
it for a
attitude?
certain period of time. Yeah.
Like, okay, is it tailored more towards you?
are you
now that it
sure?
knows that
You sure it forgets who you are? It might have forgot. It might appear to have
Oh no, it
forgotten what
probably
you talked
remembers your
about.
account, and then maybe
Cookies,
maybe
Right.
some.
easily, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tracked by your IP.
Well, I understand. I was
Enter
wondering if
the
it like
login.
if it starts tailoring answers towards what you've
Okay,
kind
we're gonna have to find another path.
What's it saying?
Well, there's just it's difficult for it to find 10 natural compounds with well-documented beta-2 androgen
Well, how about the one
receptor agonist activity.
How about the ones that are not well
Compounds listed
documented?
above may have interaction, but their selectivity, potency, and overall effectiveness are limited compared to synthetic beta-2.
Is caffeine cathinone on there?
No.
That's natural,
We
but
stopped
it's illegal.
with Synephrine, octopamine, tyramine.
Tyramine, yeah.
Yeah, is octopamine
It did say
Back off those.
octopamine.
It did.
Thank you.
nice?
I didn't say the two ones that are banned first. I said the ones that are
I
still
wanted
on the
to
market.
mention octopamine when you mentioned your beer.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a little bit of that, and
possibly. There could also be tyramine in there. There could be
Little
hordenine.
inhibitors?
Yeah, there's a lot going on there because
Yeah.
this is brewed from hops. So
Pre-workout beer.
potentially
caffeine.
Sans Energy.
the makings of it are there.
Alternative routes to stimulatory properties.
I've already actually hinted at some of the things, like what was it, Aroxalin A, and how that one works with not encaphalin,
Aroxalin A, that's that one nootropic.
Subroxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one is a unique mechanism because it modulates. It starts with an orexin. That whole pathway,
What's that,
which
Jim?
that's another way that
with
you
that?
can elicit
I forget.
wakefulness.
We wrote about it.
Just when
Aroxalin
we
A.
fucking-
Wait. Oh, that was Storm Focus, right?
No,
Was that what was that ingredient?
Brainberry.
Oh, that was Brainberry, which is high in.
we have
What's
Subroxy and Neuro.
purines?
No, Brainberry. I thought was high in.
Are they
Tell me
saying
something I don't know.
Are they saying an alkaloid or are they saying dopa?
Oh, no, I just went on to say naturally occurring ingredients which have stimulatory or dopaminergic properties.
No, seriously, like that's one of my problems in like
Rhodiola.
formulation is the fact that
you're right.
we are blocked out of our best beta 2 agonists. There's nothing
Dope.
left for us as far as the beta 2
I know,
receptor
but
is
then you can
concerned.
find
Neuro 365?
interactive like ingredients.
I'll go find a fucking jellyfish
Subroxy.
squid thing that lives at the bottom of the goddamn sea and pull it up and find some cool stimulants in that thing and be like,
say it's in your Neuro 365?
SNS Subroxy.
"What's Roxy? Yeah,
So point being, this isn't going to be taking over formulating for our industry anytime soon.
No, but-
I mean, there's,
Some
like,
people
I
will think that-
this is such a large, like, so, and again with the citrulline problem,
Yeah.
what I'm asking for it right now are like really talked about fucking things that are just it's gonna have so much data points based on just these like very generic options.
We need to get the WebMD,
But when we get into the
Wikimedia
weeds
fluff
with
out of
it,
there.
when
Here's-
we get into the weeds with it and ask it like for that Canna Cascade like concept product that we made samples of,
it was
like,
on."
it was on the money, and those weren't like some obscure things that it knew right away and like
Yeah.
let us down. Like we went like 45 minutes worth of Google searching and checking and reading and stuff like in 5 minutes.
I'm going to take some of that before I go to bed tonight.
Nice.
I get sleep.
So
on
I'm
Sunday.
thinking, so you can get the entire
Come back for
Sci-Hub
more of that.
library on a ton of torrents that they have shared out there and everything.
Okay.
I'd want to build my own model, and it's huge. Like there's a lot of torrents and everything. Get your own instance of Sci-Hub, and
Basically,
give it,
yeah.
and feed that. And it would take some time to put it all together. Feed that to your own thing, not having this Wikipedia BS out there or anything, and just like, here's all the studies
Yeah,
that we
exactly.
have.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That's what we need
to have-
Start taking the shit out of it. You know
Yeah,
what
that's
I
what
mean?
we
It's
need.
got a
I
lot
just
of
want
crap in
the PDFs.
The problem with our internet these days is it's become monetized, so all your Google rankings are bought and paid for if they're not fucking censored or whatever the fuck already. And we don't have objectivity in what we can search anymore. And then the other thing is that I've got a problem with is aside from all that stuff being monetized, so even if you are trying to like seek the truth and find it, along this path of like dodging through all these different ads and misinformation and just flat out wrong information, that you find out that once you are getting closer and closer to the truth, the more and more it costs money. And I think that's pretty fucked up.
Is that a
What do you mean the more and
possibility
more
for us
costs
to host our own instance
Because
of all
if
those
you're
PDFs?
if you're trying to find the truth about fucking citrulline, and eventually you get through all your misinformation of different ads and sales pitches, and then people who are just flat out wrong, and then you get into like the scientific articles and stuff. But God forbid you want to look at the full text of it and find out how it's really working. If you just pay this institution $25 or they range. I mean, they're anywhere from like $25 to like $100 for an article.
Right. Understood.
There are sites too.
There's a lot of
you
open
give
access.
to that
Yeah.
have open.
Now, open access journals, you get the API key, plug it in, whole database.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
We
what
can
I
do
would do.
this without needing
Yeah,
SciHub.
you don't need all
You're
the
not going to get
fucking
as much
hardware.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's behind a paywall, you're gonna have a hard time.
Right. Awesome. Well, gentlemen, it's 11:30 p.m.
Yeah,
We're gonna
let's
call
Big
it.
day tomorrow.
pack it up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
I'm ready for some skinny beer tomorrow.
And this is
Can't
the
wait
part
for it.
where you let everyone know that this whole thing was generated by AI.
We're not real.